Sumner 1.
You need some.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday Eve from the opening drive on 101 ESPN 701. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Brooke Grimsley and a very fired up Carey Davis.
Yeah, it doesn't take me much, man. Just a little music, and then it's a wall that I'd be ready to run through.
That was so cool. A couple of years ago, the Blues enlisted the help of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, and obviously a lot of St. Louisans to put that video together, and it's awesome. And the Blues start tonight. Game 1 of this Stanley Cup Championship 23-24 season. The Blues at Dallas, 6 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock face-off here on 101 ESPN.
Did you just say Stanley Cups champions?
Just
happened. I just wanted to refresh. Do you think that's going to happen?
A little proof that the folks at The Athletic really have no idea what they're talking about. They're supposed to be a hockey organization, and we love Jeremy Rutherford.
And it's not Jeremy.
No, it's not. They just... they don't like St. Louis for some reason. That's fine. They don't like Bennington. That's fine. We'll show them.
They don't seem to like Berube either. I sent you guys the article yesterday. They basically had him second on the list for the likelihood of being fired.
Yeah, why don't they call JR? They work with JR. Why don't they call JR and ask him if Berube is safe? It's a pretty simple phone call or text to make. JR, text us right now. All you have to do is say, JR, you can go text JR anytime, day or night, and ask, hey, is Berube like on the hot seat? And JR will text you back. He works with you, Athletic people. Come on.
Yeah, and he'll say,
sure, he has some answers.
Yeah. So anyway, the Blues are going to have a really good season in 23-24, and we're excited to have them as your home of Blues hockey here on 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale will have the call tonight here on 101 ESPN, and it's going to be pretty cool. This is my favorite time of year. I love the start of the hockey season. Football in full swing. You get the NBA season going, and you have the baseball playoffs, which have been... Even though the series themselves haven't been incredible, the games have been pretty amazing.
They have been. Guys, the Dodgers' implosion in the postseason is still just very... I don't know if it's weird or is it expected at this point.
Yeah.
I maybe the Dodgers don't expect it, but it feels like everybody else just sees it coming. But it felt like it was done after Game 1. With everything that happened with Clayton Kershaw, felt like that was over with. The Diamondbacks, honestly, I have to give them all the props because I felt like I was looking at them in a way that I didn't expect them to do this.
Well, here's the thing, Brooke. If you look at the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks have built a club that will guarantee them a pennant. The Diamondbacks spent all that money and they put together like an all-star team, and so they're guaranteed to not only make the playoffs, it doesn't matter who gets hot at playoff time, the Diamondbacks were going to be that team because of the money that they spent and the players in the group they put together. The Dodgers really had no chance because all the Dodgers really wanted to do when they got Betts and Freeman and re-signed Kershaw and all that. All they wanted to do was make the playoffs and hope they got hot.
Silly me for believing in the regular season and maybe that has a factor or that maybe spending a lot of money has a factor. But the Diamondbacks of what they've built, Tony Lavello too is just a very good manager. Just watching him and how he goes about his business. I was telling you, I think the commonality that I see between all the managers that are left right now is that they're leaders of men. And that might sound silly because obviously you're leading men, but I think there's a difference. We've all, worked at a job where you had a boss who you're like, how in the world are you leading an organization right now? You shouldn't be. You're not a true leader. That's something that you can't, fake. That's something you can't manufacture. It's something that is built through life experiences, and some people are just meant to be leaders. I think Tony Lovello is that. The way that his guys trust him, he trusts them. Oh, and by the way, the Diamondbacks spending that money on Corbin Carroll for that extension, that paid off.
Smart. There's a local team that could take some advice from that. Let's start with Philadelphia and Atlanta. The Braves taking the lead on an Ozzie Albies single last night in the third inning, but in the bottom of the third, this game at Philadelphia, Nick Castellanos brought the crowd to its feet.
The lead things for the Phillies, and Castellanos way back into left field, and we are tied just like that.
Oh, but that wasn't it. Brandon Marsh reaches base. Trey Turner reaches base. And you thought the crowd went crazy for Castellanos. How about this?
Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
Harper did really watch it. And then he watched Orlando Arcia for a moment, too, as he rounded the bases.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was I guess there was some talk after that game from the Braves, and I guess an attaboy Harper.
Yep.
They were happy that he got doubled off. And, again, I didn't have a problem with what Bryce Harper did. He was taking a chance. He was trying to score a run. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in game 2. But they were fired up, and I love it. For me, anytime you get a chance to do your job and let the opposing player know, it's going to be a long day, buddy. I'm sign me up for that.
That's what I'm saying. I know that some people on social media and just seeing people react to it are like, no, this shouldn't be going on. That should have stayed in the clubhouse. But as a reporter, once you enter the clubhouse, you usually do describe the atmosphere, what players are saying. Players are aware that once reporters are in that clubhouse, everything that you say, you do is essentially being reported on. And maybe he didn't necessarily mean it in that way, but to me, I think that if you say it, then you mean it. And he said that
a couple times.
Yeah, and he said that he meant to say it. He just didn't think it was going to get out of the clubhouse. And with Bryce Harper, I think it was all dramatic, but I think Bryce Harper likes even building up things even more. I'm sure he mentioned afterwards that his teammates told him about it. They're probably like, ooh, yes, okay, let's get Bryce Harper fired up. And it worked.
Yeah, some players, a lot of players, it doesn't take much to get you going. Just anything said or taken in the wrong type of context can get you going and fired up. And that Phillies team was fired up last night. It was pretty good.
It was 6-1 after the third, and then in the fifth, Harper put his exclamation point on things.
Harper, high fly ball center field. He's watching. Harris turns. Harris leaps, and it's gone. Harper with a rainmaker and another stare down. 7-1 Phillies, and it's turned into the Bryce Harper game again.
It was the Bryce Harper game. He was outstanding. 10-2 was the final. And oh, by the way, Aaron Nola just worked himself out of contention for a Cardinals starting position in the rotation because he probably made himself an extra $3 million a year last night with his 5 2/3. He allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 9, and walked 1.
Pretty good.
And he was electric with those 9 strikeouts.
For the Phillies and everyone else.
Yeah. He probably went, and this is just the way baseball works. He probably went from that 210 that we talked about, 7 years and 210, probably added about $3 million a year to his salary. So probably 231 now over 7 years.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
For him. Again.
Yeah.
Not for us.
No.
I was going to say, the checkbook, is that coming out? Ready to write all those extra zeros?
That'll make you rise up in the payroll rankings, won't it? Now, the late game last night was also pretty wild. It was a scoreless game in the third when Arizona went bananas.
Geraldo Perdomo starts it in the bottom of the third. And here's Perdomo. Look at this. Hayward back at the fence. Can't get it. Gone. He hit to Del Marte, if it's fair, and it is. And this ball is way gone. Well, this is what you know about Lance Lynn. He gives up homers. But 2 in on a pair of solo homers. And here's Christian Walker. And here's another shot to deep left. Down the line and gone. 3 solo homers in the inning. And here's Moreno. Has the home run erased. And then hits the next pitch to the moon. There's your 4th home run.
You heard Bob Costas on TNT. Gabriel Moreno had hit a line drive home run down the right field line. It was reversed because it was actually foul. Very next pitch, he hits for another home run. 4 home runs, a major league postseason record in the inning for the Diamondbacks, who win the game 4-2 and eliminate the Dodgers 3-0.
Well, the Dodgers had a few issues, starting pitching being one. If I'm adding this up right, the starting pitchers went 4 2/3 for 3 games. 4 2/3 for amongst 3 pitchers. Yeah. 3 starters give you 4 2/3 in 3 games. You're not going to win. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, your best 2 players, your MVP candidates, go 1 for 21 in the series. You aren't going to win. You can stop right there. You don't have to look at any more numbers. Don't go any further. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's over. If your best players don't perform, your starting pitchers don't perform, wow, wait a minute. Hold on. What? Your starting pitchers don't perform. Your relievers don't pitch too many innings and then they don't perform. And your stars don't do well every time. What does that lead to?
Losses in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering.
Or not making the playoffs.
If you're the Dodgers, not that Nolan Arenado has been a great postseason performer, but does getting knocked out of the playoffs again prompt you to revisit perhaps Nolan Arenado?
Oh, are we stirring that pot now?
I'm just wondering if that might be something that they would be interested in.
Because the trade deadline rumors were swirling around with the Dodgers and Nolan Arenado this season. Possibly you could see him, especially if he gets frustrated even more with some of the offseason moves or lack of moves again.
And their first choice, the Dodgers' first choice, is obviously going to be Ohtani because they would get him as a pitcher next year. They should be in on Nola or Snell. Their bullpen is really good. But as you said, CD, that is just not worthy starting pitching. You can't win with the starting pitching they had. And I know they didn't have May, they didn't have Buehler, they didn't have Urias, they didn't have their starting rotation. All they had was a really diminished Clayton Kershaw, but it had to be better. That's the bottom line. Do you get a healthy Buehler back? Is he good next year, coming off of a full year off of Tommy John? Nobody knows. Does Bobby Miller ascend? Does Emmett Sheehan ascend? Urias isn't coming back.
No.
Dustin May's not going to be back until late next year. So they got to do something. The first order of business in L.A., kind of like here in St. Louis, has to be starting pitching.
And again, that's one of the problems that the Cardinals are going to run into, the multiple suitors for a limited number of players, and some of those suitors are going to be willing to pay more money.
In the words of Bart Stoop, you have to be ready to pony up.
Pony up.
Right.
Pony up. Is that the new motto now moving forward?
Right. The small sample size, this is not fair because Nolan Arenado hasn't played in the playoffs much, but Max Muncy is a really good playoff player, and I'm sure that would be one of the guys the Cardinals would be interested in if they were going to move a guy like Arenado, and they're about the same age. So if you're the Dodgers, you might say, you know what, I'll take the cheaper guy who's been better in the playoffs and had a better power year last year than Arenado. In the American League, Houston advances to the ALCS with a 3-2 win over the Twins. 1-1 game, 4th inning. Alvarez on base and Jose Abreu at the plate.
In the air, well struck right center. Looking back on it, and that is off the top of the fence. Is it gone? It is. Boy, that was crushed by Jose Abreu. This time he goes the opposite field. He had 2 pulled to left yesterday. He is on fire right now. His 3rd in 2 games in Minneapolis. And he puts the Astros on top 3-1.
And they win it by a score of 3-2. Jose Urquidy, 5 2/3. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, and then their bullpen shut him down. Hector Neris with an inning and a third scoreless. Brian Abreu, not Jose. And then Ryan Presley came in to close things out. And it's Houston and Texas for the American League Championship.
Should be a good matchup.
That should be a shootout down in Texas.
Down in Texas, yep.
Can you say that probably?
I don't.
Yeah, you can in Texas. Yeah, they shoot everybody.
No, Randy?
They do, yeah.
No, they duel.
Oh, yeah, that's it. They duel. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a duel.
They're having an old school duel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. You have it. The ALCS is set, and Philadelphia 1 game away from beating Arizona for the National League Championship Series. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we want to hear from you. We want to get your text 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Sick of It is coming your way on this Thursday, Friday Eve on 101 ESPN. Hey, you need to know about my friend Gloria Lou. You know, if you're a home seller, I have good news for you. The market is still in your favor. The time between now and the holidays is the last prime time of the year to sell your home to get the most money. And Gloria Lou says you can't time the market, but you can sell your home in the months that are statistically the most profitable, and that time is right now. Gloria's name is her promise, and really says it all. Your home sold, guaranteed realty. Gloria has mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed. Does your agent even compare? Well, Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. For sellers who want a fast sale with no hassles, she has a 24-hour cash offer solution that's a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers in what she calls her cash offer bid box. That's right, she already has buyers for your home. Call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Uh-oh, something bad happening from Matthew Rocchio. You want to share it?
No, we're good.
Okay.
What?
I said okay.
You were laughing at something.
Sometimes we get odd texts during some of these segments.
Oh, okay.
I just wonder. I'm just like, okay, how's your day going? That's what you woke up and picked up your phone for. Okay.
Wake up and choose violence.
Hey, if you want to watch us on the YouTube, you can. Just go to youtube.com and type in 101 ESPN. We'd love to have you subscribe to the 101 ESPN channel. It's all brought to you by Air Alliance Team, so check it out. Sick of It is right now. The text line is open for you, whatever your text might be. Maybe you woke up angry. Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but we kind of like angry texts now and then. We get a charge out of them. 314-399-9646. 314-399 Yo-ho! Okay, so there's a lot to be sick of, but I'm sick of our friends, and they are our friends up in Bristol, continuing to talk about the possibility of the Dallas Cowboys as a Super Bowl contender.
No, they're not.
They're talking about it. You realize, and this is my favorite stat for Cowboys fans, St. Louis has been in an NFC Championship game and Super Bowl more recently than Dallas has.
St. Louis doesn't even have a football team.
We don't even have a team, and we haven't had one for 8 years.
Huh.
The last time the Dallas Cowboys were in a Super Bowl was 1995. My son was 1. He's 29.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about, and I don't wish this upon, well, maybe some people, but let's not talk about the Cowboys being in a Super Bowl until Jerry Jones is not with us anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
How much time?
How much time do we have?
I think he's going to retire.
Oh, that not with us in that way.
No, yeah, right. No, I'm sorry.
You said about 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, retiring.
Yeah.
It kind of, the way you phrase that kind of implies
Not
that
with
they
us
will not be with us on this earth anymore.
Oh, well, okay, fine.
Either way, whichever comes first.
You guys read me so well.
There's an AI generated version of him, so he will
It'll
live
be
on
with us
forever.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because that means the Cowboys will never win
There
a Super
you go.
Bowl.
You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of people complaining about the playoff format. You know, you make it. You play to win the game. You make it there. You can't win if you're not in. And so if you're in there, just play better. Yeah. The Dodgers, they didn't play well. And so, therefore, you don't get to win. It has nothing to do with they were the hot team and our guys had to rest. Yeah, rest is a good thing, especially when you've played 162 games. It's good to rest your body mentally and physically and mentally get a rest, get a respite.
Yeah.
But complaining about it isn't going to make it better.
No, it's not the format. It's you.
It's you. It's not me. It's you.
Right.
Play better. I think that's simply what it is.
Yeah, it's one of the great lines in sports. Don't like it? Play better.
Well, if the Dodgers didn't have that many days off, it would have been completely different, right?
Yeah,
right?
Completely different.
That was what happened.
That was it.
Pitchers
nothing else.
Clearly just didn't. They had so much time off, they didn't know what to do.
Maybe the Diamondbacks having Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen makes a difference.
Torey Lovello, Corbin Carroll.
Keeps coming up. Gosh darn it.
Yeah,
He sounds so familiar.
We had him.
Yeah.
We need a guy like that.
Seems like he would be a great Cardinal. Anywho.
Pick your first baseman. Paul Goldschmidt or Christian Walker?
I'm going Paulie.
I'll go Paul
G.
Goldschmidt.
Okay. All right. I'm just asking for a response here. I want to take.
You want a hot take? Well, how about this for a hot take, guys?
What now?
You know what I am sick of right now is rule-breaking schools essentially picking out their own punishments. Guys, what could go wrong with that? So yesterday, the IARP announcing the Kansas men's basketball program, I guess some of the rulings, if you could say the punishments. I'm going to put this in air quotes for Bill Self and Kansas basketball. And guys, the ruling has been a long time coming for nothing, essentially. So let me just tell you what came down. 3-year probation for Bill Self and Kansas men's basketball team. They will have to vacate its 2018 Final Four appearances and wins from that season. Okay, that stings a little bit. Bill Self went from getting 5 level 1s to ultimately being charged with 1 level 3. That's it. No added suspensions for Bill Self, Curtis Townsend. They did those self-imposed suspensions for 4 games, if you guys remember that. And the biggest thing, no postseason ban whatsoever. I don't know why I expected something to come from this. I don't know why that I thought that they would finally get it right when it comes to some of these rulings and with the whole independent entity looking into things. I don't know why I thought this time it would be different and they wouldn't show that they obviously have favorites. But I'm disappointed yet again, and that's what I'm sick of. To me, it doesn't make any sense because I think about what Mizzou went through specifically where you got that postseason ban, and how is any of this fair? And I also think about what happened to those assistant coaches. You guys remember that? They lost their jobs but also lost their careers because of that FBI investigation that happened back in 2017. And that's my other issue, is all the wasted time and resources for this.
The NCAA is useless and has been for a long time.
Not great.
No, think about the idea of somebody robbing 5 banks and having video of it and being charged with those 5 bank robbery felonies and then being able to plead down to misdemeanor theft. That's what Bill Self did.
That's what just happened.
Yeah.
They do. Well, things happen. I'm not saying it's right. Don't think it's fair, but Mizzou told on themselves, if I'm not mistaken, when they self-imposed and they gave Kansas just, you figure out, find what you can find.
Do an investigation that lasts forever for nothing to ultimately come from it.
And think about it from this perspective. If you're the NCAA, you announced 5 level 1 violations. And you don't get any punishment out of it? Out of 5 level 1 violations? That's pretty bad work by the NCAA. I would get rid of my investigators.
That's what I'm saying, is what was the purpose of this whole independent investigation that they did? And for the NCAA, I think this continues to prove that I don't know what they are supposed to be doing anymore.
Oh, they're useless because the college football playoff and the Power 4 run right over them. There's nothing there. All right, what do we got on the text line there, Matthew? Give us your favorite one.
It's a weird one today. I'm going to try to go normal. I'm sick of preseason rankings and power rankings. Let the teams play before they rank them. That might be a Blues fan, I think, being a little angry at ESPN.
That feels like that.
Well, that's why it's called preseason. It's someone's opinion.
Yeah.
Preseason, and that can change within a couple of weeks.
And the Blues have done that before, and that's all they have to do is they can prove those naysayers wrong.
There's nobody winning a championship in preseason.
No, I just wish the naysayers were smarter. That's all.
Sick of it. I'm sick of the mullet not being in style. What's wrong with America these days?
I think it is in style now,
thought
if
it was
I'm not
making a comeback.
mistaken.
Quinn Ewers cut his off. So
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Does that
Okay.
mark the end of the mullet
well,
trend?
I don't know. He was. I guess it's a ritual that they had at their high school.
Oh, okay.
And so people thought he was kind of strange, and a certain you were
so
a
he cut it
mullet.
off,
People
yeah.
think why people would have preconceived notions of anyone because of their type of hair or any other reason.
If you go back and look at pictures, there's a very strong debate as to who had the best mullet in St. Louis sports history. Was it Brett Hull or was it Kelly Chase?
I
More
see
tricks for Chaser.
I see Chaser.
Ooh, yeah.
I
Chasers
remember,
were pretty
I remember
good.
his
Didn't
more
Jamie
than-
Rivers kind of have
He
a
had
mullet?
a great mullet, yeah.
Craig Berube had a mullet back in the day,
he
too.
did.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the least weird of the weird batch because there's something in the water in St. Louis today. I'm sick of Randy taking off for golf when he works 3 hours a day. Come on, man.
Hey,
You
guys,
weirdo.
I will not be here on Monday. I'm going to be participating in the Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith golf tournament to benefit
charitable
PGA
gentleman. Great
Reach.
job.
So I'm doing it for the kids.
There you go.
I'm gonna do something for some kids here in a couple of days too. A couple
That's
weeks.
what I like to hear. I was gone on Monday and Tuesday. I was at the Brian Jordan Golf Tournament down in Atlanta to provide scholarships for underprivileged kids and to help Brian's reading program to help literacy. I was doing it for the kids.
That's our fault.
So just whenever I'm not here, just remember, I'm not here for the
children.
kids.
Yeah, that's us. When we mentioned that you were gone on Monday and Tuesday, we only mentioned the golf. We neglected to mention the kids.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
I'm
So
doing it
that's
to
our
make
fault.
kids' lives better. When I was gone, for my own golf tournament, it was for the kids. ECH, yeah.
This is not from my burner. Sick of this time of year. In the morning, I need heat. In the afternoon, I need
Yes.
AC. Why the heck do I not live in San Diego?
Yes. That is that
Yes.
now. Texter, I don't know. Yes and yes, because it is ridiculous. It's so cold in the morning, and my house is like a scorcher. By the time I get home, I'm like, what the heck? What are we doing here? What do you do with that? You just open the windows and pray?
that's all you
Close
can
them
do.
and I don't know.
Welcome to St. Louis. Yeah. You want to do one more? Let's do one of the weird ones.
yeah.
Can you give us one of the weird? Oh, okay, give us whatever you got. That's fine.
I'm sick of Kansas City being more prosperous than St. Louis.
That's fair. I get it.
Don't no.
I haven't been there yet.
Kansas City.
You're not
merged.
missing anything.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
they're sitting in
Kansas City, Kansas. Are we talking about?
No, it's just if you drive around the greater Kansas City area, it's just Kansas City.
I will give them one credit. It is a well laid out city filled with people that I would never want to spend more than 24 hours with.
Oh, come on. Their people are great.
Oh.
Are we talking about the Missouri side or the Kansas side?
The great state of Kansas. Yeah.
Kansas City, Kansas.
But it's
Okay.
in Kansas, right?
Yeah.
They got it's two
Yeah.
of them, right? I get so confused sometimes when we talk about Kansas City.
The
It's
soccer
easy.
team
It's
plays
easy.
in Kansas, hence
There you
why
go.
they are referred to as Sporting Kansas.
Kansas. Right, because they're in Kansas.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like right across the bridge. No one remembers half the time.
Bridge.
Is it a bridge? It's just a street.
I mean, there are bridges.
It's just a
I guess
street.
there are,
even have a
I guess there are
bridge.
bridges. I guess there are like highways. There's like a freeway I think that goes across the state line.
It's a street. They don't
There is,
have
there's a
highways.
state line street, but there's like
street.
there's a freeway like
There's-
that down the line I think crosses
trying
over
to
the
get
state
There's
line.
a
Kansas.
Wendy's right across the state line. I've been to that Wendy's in Kansas before.
I went to like a jazz bar like right on state line. Ooh, great food, great music.
Yeah.
But the people
Good
there.
for Kansas City, Kansas.
We have a jazz bar and they have Wendy's.
Sounds
All
like
right.
an ideal.
Sounds like a Midwest city to me.
Rock, chalk. Yeah, they got that going.
I miss when Wendy's, remember when everything was the yellow wrapping? I feel like that was like prime Wendy's. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They were at the top of their game then.
They were.
They were in their prime. Now they've kind of lost it.
Kind of scuffling.
Coming up next, we've got Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, talking some ball, talking some playoffs. I've got a question for Greg Amsinger that we're going to talk about more in the 8 o'clock hour, but I've got a question for him about his feelings about how baseball players and athletes operate. That's next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. It is opening night for your St. Louis Blues, and of course, you can catch the game right here on your home for the St. Louis Blues. Blues and Stars, 6 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. You want to hear more Blues talk throughout the day, you'll be able to hear it. And right here on the opening drive, we have Hall of Famer Bernie Federko coming up at 8:15, and then Blues insider Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic will join us coming up at 9:15. In sports yesterday, we had MLB playoffs. The Astros over the Twins 3-2. They win that series 3-1. The Braves fall to the Phillies 10-2. The Phillies take a lead in that series 2-1. And the Diamondbacks complete their sweep over the Dodgers with a 4-2 victory backed by a 4-home run inning. Games tonight, it's a 7:07 first pitch for Braves and Phillies as the Phillies look to knock off their NL East rivals. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, Randy Karraker. I am so appreciative of Greg Amsinger working late, especially at this time of year. He works late into the night and gets up early to talk to us. Greg Amsinger, lead anchor for MLB Network, product of St. Louis, graduate of the Lindenwood University. How you doing this morning, big boy?
I got up actually a bit earlier because I'm already trying to find, connections at private golf clubs in Dallas and in Houston. So I'm really trying to line it all up, man. The World Series, I don't want to brag, but I'm just going to. The World Series ends up being a mancation for Greg Amsinger. I don't have to do anything. I do the post-game show, which, I'm reacting to the game, do highlights, whatever. It's not that hard. I should stop. It's really grueling work. It's hard. It's very difficult. And I don't have to do anything until the game starts.
So, Greg, let me stop you here. Okay, so let me stop you here. So what you're telling me is that you are in great locations. You're getting up 10, 11 in the morning, playing the finest golf courses in the world, going back to your hotel room, taking a shower, putting a suit on, going and watching.
Whoa. Slow down.
Okay.
Going back to my hotel and taking a nap.
Okay.
No, go on.
And then taking a shower, putting a suit on. Going to a baseball game and then reacting to the baseball game. Is this what you're telling me that you do?
It's tough, man. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Hard living.
Can we make sure this part of the interview doesn't go on the podcast that lasts forever? Because I don't want my bosses hearing this part. Okay.
Okay, I have. Before we get to the playoffs, I heard earlier in the week that Adam Wainwright had suffered a shoulder injury during the WBC, played with a torn labrum during the season, and was really he shouldn't have been pitching during the season. I texted with him last night. I said, "Hey, I've heard this." He said, "Yeah, this is what happened. It got worse and worse as the season went along." His second to last start in Baltimore, his shoulder capsule blew out. So he is pitching without lubrication. His shoulder joined the ball into the socket, completely dry, bone on bone. My question for you, Greg Amsinger, opinion. Do you think that Adam Wainwright should have been pitching? Do you appreciate an athlete that does that? Or do you say, no, he should have gone on the shelf?
He deserves the right to make that call. And I got to tell you, my dear friend Dan Plesac pitched 18 years in the big leagues. He knows pitching better than anyone I know personally. It's incredible to watch him watch pitchers every night on MLB Tonight. And the night of Adam Wainwright's 200th career victory, we have the ballpark cameras located in center field and in every dugout. So we can watch in between innings, whatever we want to see. We can zoom in on anything. So we're coming back. We're covering this story. We want Adam Wainwright to get his 200th win. And he's on the mound warming up. This is specifically in between the first and second innings of that night. He won his 200th game. And Dan Plesac goes, Greg, on the air, he goes, this is hard to watch. And I go, what is it? He goes, Adam Wainwright looks like a position player who's warming up to pitch in a baseball game right now. And we're watching this grown man lob baseballs into the home plate. He goes, he has nothing left. He's like, this is an injured athlete. I go, Dan, we can't really act like we're doctors on live TV. We've got in trouble for that before. And he's like, Greg, I'm telling you right now, he should never throw another baseball at you tonight, even if he doesn't get to 200 wins. This is an injured man trying to pitch. This is blood and guts tonight, Greg. This is what he says on the air. It gave me chills. And after he gets his 200th win, 7 scoreless, right? I told our producers, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think what you said was really provocative, and I want you to stand by it. So we re-aired Dan Plesac's commentary that we aired live already, but in case someone just tuned in, this is what Dan said about a guy that went 7 scoreless in a Major League Baseball game against the best team in a division. And he came back on camera and goes, Greg, I'm telling you right now, I don't know anything what's going on in this man's body. He's injured. I've seen guys warm up before. He's in pain throwing a baseball, and he should never throw another baseball again. And he was 100% right. To see Adam Wainwright do that was St. Louis is gritty, man. We love baseball players that lay it all out there, right? We do. That is why Adam Wainwright's a legend in St. Louis. He fits the baseball obsession. 200 wins for him is going to at least 5 to 10 Cardinal games every summer for a family of 8 in South St. Louis. That is the equivalent. We got to go. We got to watch these guys play. Adam Wainwright had to play. He had to give it all. And what a great way to look back. You look at life. I don't want to get too deep and too philosophical, but I look at my life like a car, right? By the end of my life, I don't want the transmission working. I want the tread of my tires worn off. I don't want the radio working anymore. I'm going to turn this thing in, and it's a joker. It's done. I want God to know I got every mile out of this vehicle. Adam Wainwright got every pitch out of that right shoulder. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, Greg, we already got some texts coming in about this. What do you have to say to the people who say that it was selfish of him to continue?
Whoa. I mean, look, if they were in the mix for a wild card spot, I could see their angle, okay? And to me, everything happens for a reason. If he would have called it last year, right? Let's say he decided I'm going to go hang it up with Albert and Yachty. I don't get the 200 career wins. I got to be honest with you. I've been covering the Hall of Fame election announcements every year for 15 years. I don't know if he gets in. I know that in St. Louis, blasphemy, no way. He's guaranteed to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a borderline Hall of Fame candidate. But to get to 200 wins, writers are going to ask themselves, how many guys are going to get to 200 wins going forward? Is this number going to look differently in 10, 15 to 20 years? So it's a big number. And look, these numbers matter. Clayton Kershaw is going to come back next year. Why? He's 56 strikeouts away from 3,000. Did Clayton Kershaw look like a Cy Young contender in Game 1 of the series against the Diamondbacks? He got one dude out. But no matter what is coming out of his hand at the age of 36, Clayton Kershaw is coming back to get to 3,000 strikeouts. The legends earned that right. And as baseball fans, who we all think we're smart enough to be GMs, sometimes you just got to side and blindly follow the people that know more than us. Adam Wainwright knew himself. He knew the situation at hand. Cardinals were out of it. It gave fans something to cheer about. There was nothing to celebrate at the end of that year. So, no, it wasn't selfish. It gave us all one of our favorite memories of 2023, a year that all Cardinal fans need to go get therapy to forget.
Greg,
no, it wasn't selfish.
Greg, you hit on, let's switch to the playoffs. You hit on the Clayton Kershaw debacle and the Dodgers. What did you make of that series? And Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, the starting pitchers, it just went downhill early on for those guys.
It's not just the Dodgers, a crazy nugget, right? The 5 best teams in baseball for 2023, the 5 best records in baseball went a combined 1-12 in this postseason. 1-12. What does that tell you? Now, it's kind of an inexact science, but I look at baseball as 2 different sports crammed into one calendar year, right? You have the marathon version of baseball, which is 162. You need guys that can help you win 162. Then you have the sprinting form of baseball, which every pitch matters. You got a bullpen your way. Starting pitchers never go longer than 6 innings ever in a postseason game. And this is the different brand of baseball you see in October. And it happened to be the case where a couple of those 100-win teams were teams that were decimated by injuries by the end of the year, didn't have a lot of experience on the roster like the Baltimore Orioles, didn't have a lot of depth like the Tampa Bay Rays. And here you are, or I'll even say the Los Angeles Dodgers. You could navigate your way through Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, breaking balls the entire at-bats, both guys. And they were like, you know what, J.D. Martinez and Max Muncy are going to beat me. That was the motto. And you saw Mookie and Freddie not take their walks. They went up there and they pressed. They had to do something. They could not walk. Corey Seager can walk 5 times in a game, and the Rangers can win because the Rangers have a ton of firepower after Corey Seager. But Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman can't walk 5 times, and the Dodgers win the game. So it was a team built with depth like the Rangers are right now compared to a team that was top-heavy with stars like the Dodgers, where Betts and Freeman had to be great, and Clayton Kershaw had to look like he was 26, not 36, and it didn't work out.
Greg, what do you make of the fact that Dusty and Bochy and either Thompson or Brian Snitker and then Torey Lovullo, they're going to be your Final Four managers standing? What do you make of those 4?
Well, every year the managerial position gets watered down in terms of its relevance in the game. And I hope we pay attention, especially the ALCS. These are 2 iconic old-school managers. I'll just go into the pivotal game for the Houston Astros. Pivotal, right, in Minnesota. Rocco Baldelli, before the game starts, has a pitch count, has an inning count, I'll put it that way. No, a batter count for his starter, Joe Ryan. What does that mean? He's only going to face the lineup 2 times until he gets to Yordan Alvarez. He will not face Yordan Alvarez twice. Joe Ryan, no matter what comes out of his hands, knows before the game he's essentially facing 11 batters. Hey, Joe Ryan, guess what you are today? You're an opener. You're an opener, okay? And by the way, every baseball player, they're all alpha males in their own mind. So you're just an opener now, Joe Ryan. Whereas Jose Urquidy, who doesn't have the stuff that Joe Ryan has, is told by his manager, Dusty Baker, you are on a performance watch. If I like what you're doing on the mound, if I like what's coming out of your hand, I'm not going to take you out of the game. You're in there, dude. I want to leave you in. Because he believed in the starting pitcher. This psychological thing called competence somehow is injected into athletes at times. And when it is, that's called leadership. When you can get more out of an athlete because of the way you manage the athlete, you are truly leading. And what we've come to realize when you see these old school managers all thrive is leadership still matters in sports. We're trying to take it away. We're trying to have all the smart guys up in the press box with the GM and the president of baseball operations. We want them to manage the game. But guess what? They're not next to the men that are playing the game. So you can't lead if you're not next to. And that is the big fracture in baseball right now. And that's why I hope the industry recognizes that leading men still matters. And if it does matter, we need more old school managers like Bochy, like Baker. Torey Lovullo is one of the best managers in the sport. I said it when the Diamondbacks lost over 100 games. It wasn't his fault they were rebuilding. Who's a better option than Torey Lovullo, who I interviewed last night and said he's going on a 24-hour bender and to keep our ballpark cameras on the little pool in the outfield because he might be floating on the top of that water at 5 a.m. So I made sure we had a PA keep an eye on that pool in case Torey got a little too wild. But it's a great thing to see leaders thrive in baseball again.
Greg, is there something that the Cardinals can learn from any of these teams left standing as they approach the offseason and make a lot of big decisions here if they want to turn things around quickly? Is there a model with one of these teams left standing that you believe that they could follow or look to?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, spending money actually does win every once in a while. That actually plays out. I mean, I want to be straight up honest with you. There are industry front office folks who rolled their eyes and giggled to each other over what the Texas Rangers did. When Chris Young took over, John Daniels out in Arlington, and a former big league pitcher, I get it, He went to Princeton, but he's still a quote unquote jock. Giggle, giggle, tisk, tisk. They don't really know what they're doing because they played. If you played Major League Baseball, boy, are you biased. Why are you doing this? Why are you making decisions? He goes and gets Jacob deGrom, and then Jacob deGrom falls apart. Then he goes and spends even more money to get a guy like Andrew Heaney, who everyone looked at and was like, what value is Andrew Heaney going to have, and why are you giving him a multi-year deal? This makes no sense at all. Then at the deadline, you go get Aroldis Chapman, and they're like, okay, it was a nice story in Kansas City, but he really wasn't pitching any meaningful innings. Good luck with that, Chris Young. And before that, he goes and brings back Bruce Bochy. And if you're a front office analytical guy, you're like, oh my goodness, one of the stalwarts of our movement, the San Francisco Giants, couldn't wait for Bruce Bochy to get out of the helm as manager of the San Francisco Giants. Good luck with that, Chris Young. Oh, you're going to trade for Max Scherzer? He's busted. This isn't going to work. He's not going to help you. He's not going to motivate a turnaround to help you get into the playoffs. They have been rooting against Chris Young and the way the Rangers have done things, spending money. I got to be honest, as you look at the future of baseball, it was a pivotal thing to watch the Baltimore Orioles enter the playoffs. They have no money invested in that roster. This is the product of losing. So, yes, Mike Elias, well done. Did a good job drafting players when you're picking in the top 5. That's great. You have to do that well. And he didn't miss. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, great decisions. But there is skin in the game when you have to tell your owner, hey, let's spend $100 million on this guy. They didn't do that yet. So the Orioles will see how they manage this roster going forward. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they give $100 million to a kid that really never played in the big leagues, Corbin Carroll. That was a gutsy thing to do. And Corbin Carroll's worth more than $100 million. They were 100% right. So there are a bunch of different ways and examples for the Cardinals to look at all these teams and go, maybe we should invest in our starting rotation and go big on free agents. Maybe we should have locked up Jordan Walker before he really had a full year in the big leagues like the Diamondbacks did with Corbin Carroll. There were ideas out there that pause was the answer. Let's pause. Well, these other teams didn't pause, and now they're playing really late into October.
You probably won't see it on national TV, but you can tell us you're rooting for the Diamondbacks, aren't you?
Whoa.
You're rooting for Arizona.
I love all 30 teams.
Okay, Greg, last week in October, would you rather play golf in Arizona or in Philadelphia?
There's some beautiful courses in Philadelphia. And, oh, man, that fan base. And there's just something about wearing a really long coat on television and seeing your breath when you start a show because it's really cold. There's something really beautiful in that. So if that would be the case and we go to Philadelphia, I am totally fine. I'm totally fine. I have there's nothing wrong with wearing a stocking cap when you tee off in the morning. It's not
yes,
preferred. Not preferred, but you'll do it. But it's for the love of the game, Randy. It's for the love of the game.
Okay. Love it. Hey, you're the best. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
See you, Greg. Greg Amsinger, you can see him tonight on MLB Tonight on MLB Network. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. We have Take It or Leave It coming your way on 101 ESPN.
something. We put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
With Brooke Grimsley and Carey Davis, I'm Randy Karraker. Matthew Rocchio is also here, and we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text in right now. Kids, TMZ reporting the Swiftie is going to be at the Chiefs-Broncos game tonight in Kansas City. Right now, Travis Kelce is questionable for the game with an ankle injury. Did not practice on Monday. Limited participation on Tuesday and Wednesday. Questionable for the game. Take it or leave it. Travis is up in the box with Swiftie tonight.
I'm going to leave it.
Hey, you want to now? Here's the thing. If you would like to watch the Kansas City Chiefs team implode, yeah, go sit in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you aren't able to play, and you aren't going to be out there helping your team, you can't be in the press box with Taylor Swift.
No, you got to be on the sideline.
You got to be on the sideline. So, but if you want to be on, if you want to see it, just blow up in the middle of the season, go ahead. It'd be great.
Why not?
That's not that. Let me tell y'all something. I saw a teammate, a very well-known teammate, took a day off of practice. It was hot outside. And he was a veteran, and it was the other veterans. He didn't have practice that day, and the other veterans had practice. And one veteran was very upset that that veteran was in a tinted booth with AC while the rest of us were outside practicing. Veteran that was practicing wanted to fight veteran in the booth. And it was
Did you win the fight?
They didn't fight.
Oh, it was. I figured that would have been something.
No, he was in the tent,
practicing.
and the veteran in the tent said, "Hey man, how you gonna catch me? We gonna fight in the phone booth? You're not never gonna catch me, so we're not gonna fight." He was pretty fast. The other guy wasn't as fast. So yeah, it was. If you want things to go bad, let one person do something while the other ones are working and trying to figure out how to win a game.
I don't think Andy Reid let that happen.
Not gonna happen.
No. Probably not.
So we were talking about the Major League Baseball playoffs and how well it's going. Take it or leave it. We see a rematch of last year's World Series.
Ooh. I want something different, so I'm going to leave it.
I don't want to see the Diamondbacks.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
No offense to those guys.
Yep.
You want star power. You want the guys.
What about the Rangers?
No, you know what? I'm changing my mind. The Diamondbacks are a team of destiny. They're the one this year.
Oh, no. Philadelphia is a team of destiny. They're going to be a rematch, and Philly wins.
Oh, well.
This year.
Arizona deserves a championship. They haven't had one in a while. Ever?
What other sports?
They won 2001 World Series. The Diamondbacks did, but Suns have never won.
No.
Coyotes have never won. Cardinals have never won.
Gosh darn it. Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe.
I'm glad the Cardinals didn't win one. Stretch myself. Arizona Cardinals lost that one. Sorry about it, fellas.
Take it or leave it, guys. Yeah, take it or leave it, guys. In honor of the Blues starting their season tonight, I'm going to make a prediction of who's going to score the first goal of the season. Take it or leave it. It's going to be Pavel Buchnevich.
I'm leaving it.
Who you going?
Jordan Kyrou.
I'm going Jacob Vrana.
Ooh, I like that. Like them all. I like all of our choices.
Who's Jacob?
Yes, sir. Jakub.
No, he called himself Jacob.
I know.
It's Jakub Barnes.
And then we have, Jakub Barnes.
Part of the Four Horsemen.
I'm gonna go with Alexei Torpchenko.
I thought you were gonna go with
I'm going grindy. I'm going grindy for the first goal. Get a rebound. Somebody tips off somebody's body. No, there's no way to do a prop bet on that. What?
All right, what do we got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. Every pro team cheats a little. It's just that the Patriots and Astros got caught.
Leave it.
You ain't cheating. You ain't trying.
No, not every time. When you say cheating a little, what are you referring to? Cheating to me is when you watch other teams, when you watch the film of other teams practice. That is cheating.
That's cheating.
Banging on trash cans.
That's cheating.
To give you an answer of what pitch is coming is cheating. But is stealing hand signals cheating? Because you do have
gamesmanship.
People,
is there a written rule against it? No.
I don't think so. So, when they have their hand signals, they should change
Now, if you have the hand signals on video, that's different.
Okay.
Take it or leave it. As long as money is the primary moving factor, the regular season will start to matter less and less for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I thought you were going to make that into a Cardinals thing somehow.
No, Carey. Not everything I do is about the Cardinals.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Name one time where I tried to slip in a Cardinals take.
Okay.
Take it or leave it. Randy wants to fire the current manager and hire Joe Madden.
Oh,
I'm
leave
going to
it.
take it.
No, totally leave it.
Are you
Leave
sure?
I don't want to fire him.
Oh, you want to rehome?
Thank you.
No. Well, Randy, you're going to get a manager. You're going to get an old school manager in here that's going to be fighting, literally, going to the front office and fighting. Because he's not going to be able to manage.
That's exactly right. And he will not take the job unless he is allowed to manage. That's what Bruce Bochy's thing was. That's why James Click is no longer the general manager in Houston. But if you want experience, and this is nothing against the current manager, it's just a matter of my history of watching baseball and seeing experienced managers win championships.
I do think that, at some point, like I told you all, every coach that I know that has gotten fired at some point says the next time I get a job, I'm doing it my way. If I'm going to get fired anyways, I might as well go out the way I want to.
Yeah.
And so,
Then you'll feel better about it, right?
if you're a new manager or a current manager, just do it your way. Hey, if they're going to fire you, they're going to fire you. You might as well win games on the way out.
Go out guns a-blazing.
Let me run one more quick one because it is Blues opening day. Take it or leave it. By the end of the season, Joel Hofer is the starting goaltender for the Blues.
By the end of the season?
By the end of the season.
Did we not hear how Jordan
That's like 8 months
Bennington
away.
Leave
It's a lot of time.
Leave it.
Jordan Bennington is going to be.
Brooke, I think, might
I
want
don't
to take this.
know, guys. I don't know if we're going to get a repeat of maybe Jordan Bennington and Billy Husso 2.0, but now with Joel Hofer.
Wow.
But then again, Jordan Bennington, the way that he finished things in the playoffs during that time, it worked out better for him. He was able to make his comeback, but I don't know. And maybe this will be a different situation.
You just took it, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll take it.
That's Brooke. That's Carey. I'm Randy. Matthew, thank you very much. Coming up next, is it selfish for a player to try to use his body to wear it out to try to win for you? That's next on 101 ESPN. When I was working downtown, I always used to like to take the Metrolink down to our studios for the old station that I worked at on the Landing. And it was so convenient, easy for me to park in Clayton or in Richmond Heights and take the Metro down there. And it was an easy ride home. You didn't have to hassle with parking. You didn't have to worry about getting your car broken into because you had Metrolink. Well, now it's so easy to use it for games. If you want to get around town, Metrolink is a great way to go. The entire Metro system is fantastic, and it's really important to the viability of our community. We have another Fortune 1000 company moving into town, and having Metro is a big part of it. MLS wanted to have public transportation, and they wanted to have a stadium built near public transportation because it's such a key. If you want to help your community, ride Metro. It supports local business and helps reduce traffic congestion. It really does make a difference. I've enjoyed riding it. I use it for sporting events all the time, and you can too. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Today's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
In St. Louis in the Opening Drive with Brooke, Carey, and Randy. Adam Wainwright, as it turns out, had a shoulder that was pretty much torn up all season long. During the World Baseball Classic, he suffered a labrum tear that got worse and worse as the season wore on, and then his capsule, which provides lubrication to the shoulder joint, he blew it out in Baltimore in his second to last start and essentially was going bone on bone in his 200th victory for 2023. His 2000th career victory was his last as a major leaguer. And as Adam traversed the season and tried to pitch, obviously he was on the IL a couple of times, and so was Steven Matz. So the Cardinals' options were Dakota Hudson, who was having a terrible year down in Memphis, Matthew Liberatore, who would regress every time he arrived on the scene here. Jake Woodford was hurt for most of the year. They could have started Palante, I guess, but my question is this, and I know a lot of people think, oh, it was totally selfish of Adam Wainwright to pitch. Well, you could have gone, I guess, with a four-man rotation if you were the Cardinals, if you didn't have Wainwright. I am always appreciative of athletes that do everything they can to get on the field and to try to win. It doesn't always work out for the best. That happened with Kurt Warner in 2002 with a broken hand, and people couldn't wait to get him out of town because he had a broken hand. Then he goes back to the Super Bowl, obviously, with Arizona. Chris Carpenter pitched with thoracic outlet syndrome. People started hating Chris Carpenter, and then all of a sudden he has a surgery and he comes back and he's able to pitch, but people didn't like the way he pitched down the stretch. I have an appreciation for players that try to play through it, especially when their team needs them because they don't have any other alternatives. I admire Wainwright's tenacity and desire to pitch.
I didn't have a problem with it either. I think, as an athlete, you put your body through so much that people will never know. And the fact that he did acknowledge that and confirm that happened, I mean, hats off to him for being able to push his body through that, push it to the limit that he was able to. I don't think it's selfish at all. I think, there's a man that the Cardinals team, they weren't playing for anything specific. They weren't in the playoff hunt. They weren't trying to win the division. They finished 20-plus games out of under 500 and last in the division. So it's not like they were fighting for something, shooting for something. As Greg said, the only excitement you really had was this chase for Adam Wainwright to get to 200. And the fact that he could do that with a torn labrum and bone on bone in his shoulder. And as you said, he was just throwing everything he had up there to the plate. Hats off to him.
Well, and you would have loved to see more Cardinals players be like that this season.
Right.
I mean, think about how different, because we've already got some texts coming in, and it definitely stirred some things up. And I asked Greg about what he thought about people saying that he is selfish. And a lot of people said, well, if it happened so early on, maybe it was selfish for him to continue on for the rest of the season. He has been afforded that luxury because of what Greg mentioned, too. He's given that right. He's earned that right to be able to work through it because he has been able to work through so many things throughout his entire career. Now, going back to what I just said before that, I wish that there was a lot more guys who would have that kind of grit, that tenacity, that that passion to go back out there. I mean, imagine if we would have seen that more from some other guys this season. We could say Tyler O'Neill, maybe some others as well, being able to push through those injuries. Think about maybe how different this club would have been in general if more guys had that mindset that Waino did of pushing through, doing things for your team, trying to put your team in the best situation available, or at least try to go out there. Imagine how different maybe this season could have been.
I think it also depends on the injury. Like if you are able to, again, I practiced and played with a torn labrum. It's awful. It's terrible to go through, but you can do it. It's just about your pain tolerance. It's how much you can withstand and how much you're willing to go out. There are some things you can't play with. Torn ACL. I've seen guys try to play with torn ACLs. It doesn't work. But you have to be able to push your body to a limit, and he did the entire season. And he wanted that 200. He wanted to win a championship. I guarantee if you were to ask him one or the other, I would agree. I would assume that he would say winning a championship would have been more important. But getting that 200, knowing that you had no opportunity to win a championship this year, I'm sure that meant the world to him.
And if Adam would have gone 11-11, if he would have had the same year that he had last year, where last year he was 11-12 and had I think the 7th best ERA, 14th best earned run average, 7th most innings. He went 11-12. If he has that same year in 2023, the Cardinals aren't in the playoffs. So to your point, CD, it wouldn't have made any difference. We do have texts though. This one from from our friend Cottleville, Chris. Adam did us a solid. We had nobody else. And for those that say he was being selfish, he shouldn't have pitched, I will ask who you think the alternative was. Who would you have had pitching in the rotation? Would it have been Andre Palante? Would you have preferred
Dakota Hudson? But he wasn't.
He was terrible at Memphis, right?
Ready? Yes.
So I don't know that that would have been an option. I think he was doing them a favor, actually. But I respect the fact that people do think that maybe they should have gone to a 4-man rotation. This one says he should have been shut down. He was the worst pitcher in MLB by earned run average. Shut him down. Okay, so do that. Give me a name. Give me a name for who you would have had in the rotation. Would it have been Palante?
No, obviously not. Well, you have Dakota Hudson, which we already mentioned, was not available. And then in the minors, you had Michael McGreevy, Gordon Graceffo, but they weren't ready to make that step. Oh, and then you had Zach Thompson, but I think he was in the bullpen at that point.
He was getting stretched out.
He was being stretched out, or because he was in the bullpen. He started the season in the bullpen. So around, if we're talking about beginning of the season, he was in the bullpen, and then they sent him back down to the minors to stretch him out. He struggled, and then they brought him back up.
I mean, it all started with Wilking Rodriguez, and I think we all know that.
It would have been
the starting point.
That was
for how this whole thing went.
One other text is from the 618. I find it hard to differentiate if a player is playing for himself, the team, or the fan base. It has to be a mixture of all three that varies during their seasons and careers. I do think that Adam, at his core, was a guy who overcame pain because he wanted to help his team win. Did that down the stretch in 2015 when he came back from the Achilles in 4 months and was pitching in the postseason. Obviously was able to do that in overcoming the Tommy John in 2014 when he was second in the Cy Young voting. I never question or will never question Adam Wainwright's motivations in regards to winning.
I guess when you're getting these texts from texters and saying, oh, it was selfish, and they're giving you names of other players, I think the question is, would those other players have helped this team make the playoffs? And when you're 20 games under 500, I think the answer is still no. So I don't think it mattered to a degree that much. Now, maybe you can say, well, those guys could have got more reps. They could have got more opportunities to become acclimated with being professional pitchers, being starters in Major League Baseball. But other than that, I don't have an issue with him attempting to fight through. If he couldn't go and was unable to, I think those last couple of games you saw, it's out of gas, and he's just running on fumes. If that would have happened in June, he probably would have shut it down.
Finally, one text says, make a trade. We're talking when they still had a shot, unless you're saying they were done in May. Well, they started off 10-24, so I think there is a safe assumption. But the other point that I'll make is that traditionally, over the last several years in baseball, teams have not made trades specifically for starting pitchers until the deadline. I'm guessing that if the 6-1 or the 217 looks at the transactions that were made in Major League Baseball between the end of spring training and the start of the trade deadline, 2 weeks before the trade deadline, I'll bet you can't find one starting pitcher that got moved between April 1st and July 15th. I'll bet you can't find one starting pitcher that got traded. Not one.
Can I just mention one last one? Because this was, I like to give out a good text of the day, and this is my favorite. Yes, Palante. Then he couldn't have blown those other leads out of the pen.
Well done. Yep, good thought. Yep, not wrong. Not wrong.
There's that.
Yep. That's our fresh take here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to talk to Bernie Federko about the opening of the Blues season on 101 ESPN.
Woods, we make wet basements dry and broken foundations strong. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
There's nothing more important than the look and feel of your home, so now's the time to make your home your retreat. Replace your tired old windows and doors with Marvin replacement products designed to improve comfort and efficiency. There's only one choice. Fisher Window and Door Store, a reputable local company and the area's only Marvin authorized installer. Fisher Window and Door will guide you through the entire replacement process. Their experts will help you make the right choice for your home, and they'll measure, design, and install your new windows and doors.
Hi, I'm Jim Fisher. Since 1941, the Fisher family has provided you with quality American-made building products, including Marvin Windows and Doors. Come visit one of our showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, and let us help you increase the value of your home.
Bring that distinct sense of quality to every room with Marvin. Visit Fisher Window and Doors' huge newly remodeled showroom in Brentwood or Fisher Lumber in East Alton, Illinois. Quality and comfort starts at Fisher Window and Door. Online at fisherwindow.com.
I'm Dr. TJ from the Institute of Natural Health. I'm inviting you to check out our show, Wellness 101, every Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on ESPN. On Wellness 101, we talk about how to optimize your health as well as all things health-related. We discuss how to take control of your health by being your own health advocate, and we offer practical tips for you to become the healthiest you possible. On Wellness 101, we cover topics like optimizing hormones, thyroid health, gut function, cardiovascular health, sexual health and performance, and many more. So join Aaron and me every Sunday for Wellness 101 at 7 a.m. on ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey, and I want to tell you about my great friends at STL Design and Build. I have been working on getting me a new deck for quite a while now, and they came out, looked at my deck, and told me, whew, there's a lot of things going wrong here. It didn't look great, which I knew, but I didn't know that it was not even up to code after all of the years of wear and tear. They tore it down, and they are rebuilding me a brand new deck at a fair price. It is going to be amazing. I am hopefully about a week away from being able to go out on my deck and enjoy a few more days of nice weather where I can get some barbecue on the grill and really see how well this deck holds up. I know it's going to look great. I know it's going to feel great. If you want your deck to look great and feel great, reach out to STLDesignandBuild.com, and they can help you. My project coordinator, Becky, has helped me. They have a Builder Trend app, which allows me to go on there, approve anything that I like, deny anything that I don't like. We talk about it. She keeps me up to date. She stays in contact with me about the process, how much time it's going to take, and when I will be done. So if you need help with your deck, reach out to SDLDesignandBuild.com today.
101 ESPN has your chance to score free tickets for KISS. October 25th at Enterprise Center. Tickets for the End of the Road Tour on sale now. The very last tour ever for the legendary KISS. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets right now at either 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Talking everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Brooke, Carey, and Randy, and we go to the Celebrity Line, and Bernie Federko will be back at it tonight on Valley Sports as the Blues open up the 23-24 campaign in Dallas. Hall of Famer Bernie Federko, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Randy. I'm doing great, thanks.
Good. I always love the opening of the hockey season. I think the Blues do a wonderful job, and we'll see that on Saturday night. But I'm intrigued to see how this team comes out of the gates.
Yeah, I think everybody is right now. I think even the players themselves. I mean, training camp is always tough. You go through it. I don't think the guys really need 3.5 weeks to go through it. They're in such great shape now. But it's for real now, and I think they've got a lot to prove after what happened last year.
Well, Bernie, big prediction, because we were talking about this earlier, of who do you think, though, will be the first to score the first goal of the season for the Blues?
I'm going to guess it's going to be Buchnevich. I just love the way he plays. I mean, I think that line of Thomas and Carey and Buchnevich has really a good chance to maybe prove that they're one of the top lines in the league. So I'm anxious to see what they can do. But I kind of a real big fan of Buchnevich, the way he plays, and he's such a smart player out there. So I'm going to give him that first goal.
Bernie, we were talking to Robert Thomas yesterday and talking about the new defensive style that they've had. I've heard that they will have more time. The opposing team will have the puck more in their defensive zone more. But would that lead to a little bit more fatigue, more ice time because you're out there just a little bit longer as you are accustomed to being?
You know what? That depends all the time, Carey. Is it because you know what? You can say all you want about a system. A system is still outworking the other guys on the other team. So I mean, if you want to outwork and you get yourself in the right position, I think that you're never really going to get worn down that much. But certainly, we saw a lot of the bad defense last year. I think maybe the system was broken down a little bit, but I think that over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've talked about it. They've tried to correct it. So hopefully, yes. Hopefully everything comes together. Hopefully, I mean, I think they're going to play more of a zone defense this year, and hopefully it works, and hopefully they don't get worn out in their own zone.
Bernie, you just mentioned that the Blues have that bad taste in their mouth from missing the playoffs. Robert Thomas mentioned that to us yesterday. How much of a motivator can that be? How much can you utilize that to get great effort throughout the course of a season?
Well, it should be the total motivation, Randy, because you don't get paid to score goals or to play defense or offense. You get paid to win hockey games. And when things are going well, everybody's kind of chipping in and you win hockey games. I mean, you've got the talent. You feel that you can compete with anybody. So when you're winning, it becomes contagious with everybody. So right now, I mean, I think that the taste is there. They want to get rid of it really quickly, and it should have been a motivation. So I think that they right now feel that they have a lot to prove. They feel that they only missed the playoffs by 10 points or whatever it was last year. So they think that the tools are there, and they just have to get it done. So I'm excited about what the attitude is. I mean, I've been around camp a couple of the days, and I think that everybody's got the right attitude to go forward right now.
Bernie, we've talked at length about the defense this past season, and hopefully they'll change going into this season. But who do you believe out of all the defensemen is going to have the biggest turnaround this year?
Well, I think that everybody has to do that. I mean, I think, Brooke, that you look at the way they played last year, it wasn't just the defensemen. I mean, I think that we tend to when goals are being scored, you always kind of blame the defense. I mean, you can't. You got to blame everybody. It's a 5-man unit out there, and when everybody's on the ice, they're all going to do the job. They all going to kind of help out a little bit more. But I don't think that Fedeko had a great year last year. I think he'll be the first to admit it that he did not play the way he played the year before, or even the cup run. So I expect him to be one of those leaders. But I love the way Justin Falk plays. Justin, played great last year, and I think that he'll continue that. But I'm looking forward to Torrey Krug bouncing back. He didn't have a good year last year. So, I mean, I think you could look right down every one of those defensemen last year. I think they all felt they underachieved. And I really believe that each one of them feels that they've got to be a lot better this year.
Blues start tonight versus the Dallas Stars in Dallas. If the Blues play extremely well against this team, who is ranked to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference, does that give you high hopes for how good this team could be, potentially, one of the top teams in the Western Conference, if they can go into Dallas tonight and get that win?
I mean, it's only going to be one game, but yes, I think it can be a barometer. They played very well last week in the preseason game against Dallas, in Dallas, but they didn't. Obviously, Dallas didn't have their entire squad there. But yes, I think this is a barometer. Dallas is a really good hockey club. I mean, they were in the Western Conference Final last year, and yes, if you can play well against them, and especially if you can go into that building and win the game with the first game, and a lot of times it's really a good place to start on the road. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on the Stars. They feel it. They do have one of the best teams, so I mean, it's going to be pressure packed for them tonight. So if the Blues can go in there and get a good result, yes, I think it's not only going to be good for the barometer situation, but I think it's going to be good for confidence going forward. The Blues know, hey, you beat the Dallas Stars, you can beat anybody, and hopefully that'll continue to snowball as the season goes along.
Hey, Bernie, the Blues just spent a few days in Frisco, Texas on a bonding trip. I know that Mike Keenan used to take them to Banff, Alberta during a downtime so that they could bond. What were your bonding trips like when Harry Ornest owned the franchise?
It was at either Steak and Shake or McDonald's on an afternoon down in somewhere in Afton or somewhere. That was our bonding trip. Or a late night in the bar after one of the preseason games. That would be it.
There you go. Hey, Bernie, we're looking forward to a great season. Thanks so much for the time. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll be watching tonight on Bally.
Thanks, guys. You have a great day.
See you later. That's the Hall of Famer, Bernie Federko, on 101 ESPN. Yeah, they had a tendency. Well, they would take flights, like when they would go to Calgary or Edmonton, they didn't charter. They took connectors. So they would have to connect in Minneapolis and stuff and spend nights in hotel, or in, not hotels, but in airports to get the connector to get to the next day.
I couldn't.
No.
Yeah.
Athletes are so spoiled now.
Yeah. Well, it was unreal. Yeah, the Blues under Harry Ornest were always looking for the cheapest flight.
Oh. Don't you remember when the Yankees players were mad about having to pay for Wi-Fi?
Yes.
That kind of puts things into perspective, right?
That might be a little bit ridiculous.
Exactly. Coming up, we've got the fight for you here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. It's opening night for the St. Louis Blues, and they travel down to Texas to face off against the Stars. It's a 6 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. You can go back and listen to our Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast as Carey, Randy, and Brooke spoke to Hall of Famer Bernie Federko. And coming up a little bit later, Blues insider Jeremy Rutherford for The Athletic joins the show at 9:15. Last night in Major League Baseball playoffs, the Astros over the Twins 3-2. They win that series 3-1. The Phillies beat up on the Braves 10-2. They lead that series 2-1. They will go for the win tonight. And the Diamondbacks complete their sweep over the Dodgers with a 4-2 win. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Karraker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Rick. Rick, how you doing? Oh, one more time, Rick.
Yeah, I'm just fine. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. You've been trying to get on the fight for a while, I see, going through your text messages.
Yep. Many months. I finally got in.
Finally, well, blame Rock. He's the one that picks and chooses. Or thank Rock. How about that? There you go.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
I heard him say he didn't like Rick's, and that's why.
And I'm the negative one on the show.
Depending on the day. All right, Rick, are you ready to take on Randy Karraker?
I sure am.
All right, here we go. Yesterday, we mentioned Ken Boyer's World Series Grand Slam and Reggie Sanders against the Padres in a 6 RBI game. Who has the third Cardinal postseason Grand Slam, hitting off Hall of Famer Greg Maddux? Is it Royce Clayton, Brian Jordan, or Gary Gaetti?
Let's go with Brian Jordan.
All right, question number 2. Who is the last team to sweep the Cardinals in a 5 or 7 game series? Is it the Padres, the Dodgers, or the Nationals?
The Nationals.
The Astros punched their 7th straight ticket to the ALCS, the second longest streak in Major League Baseball history. Which team holds the record with 8 straight since the LCS was introduced in 1969? Is it the New York Yankees, the Atlanta Braves, or the Oakland Athletics?
We'll go with the Braves.
Connor Bedard's debut was covered wall-to-wall but came up short of the greatest rookie debuts in recent NHL history. Which current star set the mark when he scored 4 goals in his rookie debut back in 2016? Is it Artemi Panarin, Matthew Barzal, or Austin Matthews?
Austin Matthews.
And we're going to double check our score, and we will bring in Randy Karraker.
Rick, how you feel?
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, you waited a while. You've been. how do you do when you're fighting in your car or at home? How does it go for you?
It's been about 50% of the time I'll either tie or beat Randy.
Okay.
So I usually feel pretty good.
Okay. Well, we'll see how today goes. Randy is he's got his Blues pullover on. He's ready for opening day.
I'm ready.
All right, Randy, say hello to Rick.
Rick, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
All right, Randy, you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
All righty. Yesterday, we mentioned Ken Boyer's World Series Grand Slam and Reggie Sanders against the Padres in a 6 RBI game. Who has the third Cardinal postseason Grand Slam, hitting it off Hall of Famer Greg Maddux?
Grand Slam off of Greg Maddux. I think I might. Well, I'll do the lifeline.
Is it Royce Clayton, Brian Jordan, or Gary Gaetti?
Okay. I think it might be Royce Clayton. I don't think that BJ hit a postseason Grand Slam. He did have a big home run, but it wasn't off for Greg Maddux because it was late in the game. BJ's might have been a triple. And the other one besides Royce Clayton was Gaetti?
Gary Gaetti.
Could have been Gaetti, too. But I'll just go with Royce Clayton because he's the outlier here.
Question number 2. Who is the last team to sweep the Cardinals in a 5 or 7 game series?
So best of 3 or best of 5. 2000. Well, let's see. We've got the 2004 World Series. That's a 7. 2005, they didn't lose to Houston in a sweep. 2006, they didn't lose at all. 2007, they didn't make the playoffs, or 8. 9, the Dodgers series, the holiday series. Let me just keep that one in my holster here. 10, I think they won one of those games. I think they did, yeah. 10, didn't make the playoffs. 11, didn't lose. 12, the Giants beat them in 5 or 6. 13, they lost the World Series in multiple games. 14, oh, you know what we might have is the... So 14, it wasn't, but 15, I think they got swept by the... No, they didn't get swept by the Cubs because Lackey won that first game. And then 16, 17, 18 didn't make the playoffs. Nationals 19, NLCS.
That was a pretty good process you had there.
Thank you.
The Astros punched their 7th straight ticket to the ALCS, the second longest streak in Major League Baseball history. Which team holds the record with 8 straight since the LCS was introduced in 1969?
I'm going to go with the 90s Braves. Just because the Yankees, well, let's wait here. Hold on. 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2009. I'm going to go with the Yankees instead. I'm going to go with the Yankees through that run. I'm not sure if they made the World Series in 97, but I'm going to go, or made the LCS. I'm going to go with the Yankees. So did I get the question wrong?
No, I was laughing at Brooke, who
I almost decapitated myself. It's totally fine. It's okay. I dropped my baseball pin, which you gave me, and I didn't want to lose it, so I went to grab it and almost killed myself. Anyways, final question.
Yes.
Connor Bedard's debut was covered wall-to-wall, but came up short of the greatest rookie debuts in recent NHL history. Which current star set the mark when he scored 4 goals in his rookie debut back in 2016?
I'm going to go with Austin Matthews. I think I remember that. Austin Matthews, who I believe set another record recently with fewest games to get to like 300 goals or something like that. But I'll go with Austin Matthews. I think I recall that evening. Toronto Maple Leafs.
It is a very, very close fight today, but we do have an outright winner. Randy Karraker on a short week looking for back-to-back wins. Does he take down Rick, or does the long wait pay off for Rick in the fight? That's my fault, of course. Ring that bell!
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
Congratulations, Rick. You took down Randy Karraker 3-2 in today's fight.
Thank you very much.
The wait paid off, and let's go through those questions and answers. Yesterday, we mentioned Ken Boyer's World Series Grand Slam. Reggie Sanders had one against the Padres in a 6 RBI game. It was, in fact, Gary Gaetti who has the 3rd ever Cardinals postseason Grand Slam, hitting it off of Greg Maddux in Game 2 of the 1996 NLCS. The last team to sweep the Cardinals in a 5 or 7 game series is, in fact, the Washington Nationals, sweeping them 4-0 in the NLCS in 2019. The Astros punched their 7th straight ticket to the ALCS, the second longest streak in Major League Baseball history. It was the Braves who set it from 1991 to 1999, 8 straight LCSs for the Braves. And Connor Bedard's debut came up a little bit short of Austin Matthews when he put 4 goals away in his rookie debut. So a 3-2 win for Rick in the fight today. That means we'll have you on tomorrow, Rick. Again, great job. Thank you for joining the show and joining the fight today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, Rick, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for participating in the fight. Coming up, we've got a couple of teams on their way to the LCS after last night, and one divisional series yet to be decided. We'll tell you what we think next on 101 ESPN. Our friend at Hoffman Brothers do so much to help us keep warm in the summer, or warm in the winter and cool in the summer. But during the month of October, Hoffman Brothers is partnering with the American Cancer Society to promote breast cancer awareness. This month, if you have a Hoffman Brothers field professional out to your home or business, you'll see them wearing a pink hat and pink shoe covers in support of breast cancer. In 2020, they lost an employee of over 25 years to breast cancer, and whatever Hoffman Brothers can do to help improve the lives of those living with breast cancer through advocacy, research, and patient support, they will do. You can support the American Cancer Society by using Hoffman Brothers during the month of October. Hoffman Brothers, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and with the cold weather on the horizon, you need to get them out to the house to check out your furnace. You can call them at 314-664-3011 or make your appointment online at hoffmanbros.com. That's Hoffmann, hoffmanbros.com. To stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer, it's Hoffman Brothers.
Try to win that game today, and we really wanted it, especially because you don't want to go back home to play that fifth game if you don't have to, and then we had to burn Verlander. So now, both of our teams, Texas and us, are pretty, rested in our pens and in our starting rotation. So it should be a heck of a series.
That is the manager of the defending champion Houston Astros, Dusty Baker. They eliminated Minnesota last night with a 3-2 victory in Game 4 of their series. A big home run from Jose Abreu allows Houston to hold off the Twins by a score of 3-2. And as Dusty Baker mentioned, it'll be Houston, Texas for the American League Championship. That series will start later in the week. But you've got veteran managers, guys that really do a good job, both Dusty Baker with Houston and Bruce Bochy with the Rangers.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy is just really exciting. I was talking a lot about him this week, but what he was able to do, the fact that they were able to pull him out of retirement, I love everything that Greg Amsinger said earlier about the fact of how much Bruce Bochy has changed things, the way that he's been able to turn things around in the Rangers, and the way that just really the Rangers have spent money and spent money in the right way, I think is exciting. This is a team that essentially just gave away the division in the final weekend. If you remember, they were just one game away from winning the division, and now they have 2 series wins under their belt and all the momentum back, and they have 2 stud starting pitchers that are able to go 7 innings, 7+ innings likely if you want them to, 5 all-star hitters, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager at the top of the lineup there and top of the order. And then also with everything that you have going on with Bruce Bochy and what he's able to do, he's one of the best postseason managers ever in baseball history. And I think right now, too, I just really like everything that the Rangers have going on. And by the way, I'm just really happy for Maddox, too, that he's able to go somewhere. It seems like he's very happy there. We know that Jordan Montgomery really liked following Maddox. And to see the Rangers have this success, I just think that it's a very interesting story that kind of turned everything around of how kind of a lot of teams are viewing things and how you approach things spending money-wise.
I'm looking at this Astros team and trying to figure out who Yordan Alvarez is a guy. He had 4 home runs in that series. He slugged 1.313. He just did a fantastic job. And that lineup for the Astros, I think, it's gonna be a problem. And you heard Dusty Baker saying we were able to get this series done. We didn't have to go and pitch Verlander in Game 5. So now he'll be your starting Game 1 for them. Their bullpen is prepared. They're ready to roll. I think it's a great matchup in the state of Texas, obviously being able to play your in-state rival. But I'm going to go with the Astros there because I think that lineup is so potent, and they've already done it. They've been to 7 straight. They know what it takes, and they won it last year. So I'm going to go with the Astros here.
Now, Max Scherzer says he feels normal heading into this series. Last time he pitched was a month ago today. This is a guy that throws 7 innings in his first spring training start, though. What do you expect from Scherzer in the ALCS? Is he a starter, first of all?
Well, and that's the thing is that he's going to throw, I believe, a simulation game tomorrow or something like that, or today. And he was fired up. If you see, of course, like the adrenaline's pumping in the clubhouse when you're celebrating like that and seeing the interviews. He's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to, be a part of this right now. I think that you do possibly make him, I guess it just depends on how that simulation goes. I'll be interested to see what comes out of that. But the fact that you could get Max Scherzer back in this series, I think, is huge for the Rangers and for Bruce Bochy. And also, I just wanted to show or let you guys hear this sound from Simeon talking about Bruce Bochy and what he brings to this club.
He just trusts us. It's all about trust. It's year 1 for him with this group. It's taken a little bit of time just to figure out how he wants to use a group. But playoff Bochy is fun to play for. I think we have guys who've been there and done that, and it's fun to see them in action.
That's what I've been saying. Been there and done that. I think that experience is paying off. And Bruce Bochy, the way that he's been able to really lead this club through so many different adversities, injuries this season. We talked about, DeGrom and his injury early on and how a lot of people thought that the Rangers wouldn't be able to find a way back. They were able to work through this Max Scherzer situation. He'll possibly be back for this series. I have so much respect for Bruce Bochy and the Rangers for really buying into letting a manager do what he needs to do. And that process also leads to the players trusting the managers, trusting the team, trusting the organization, and you're seeing that pay off. Bruce Bochy is a leader of men, and that's something that every ball club should want.
If you all had to pick one manager in that series, which one are you taking?
Oh man, that's a tough choice. I would go. I would go with Bochy because historically he's done such a great job of managing a bullpen, and it's different to manage a bullpen now than when he was winning World Series because of the 3-batter minimum. But he has historically done it. He's done it well this year in managing that bullpen in Texas. So I would go with him.
I can't remember who I was listening to on the radio a couple of days ago, but one of the concerns was the Rangers bullpen that, it may eventually blow up on them. So again, with what the Astros have coming up to the plate, I like the Astros. And I like Dusty Baker. I like a man that just sits there with his toothpick in his mouth, doesn't seem frazzled, nothing really bothers him. He's just there, just chilling and doing what he needs to do. Make sure his team is going to win.
I think the cool thing about these two managers is that they let their guys be themselves. They encourage their players to be themselves and to show off their personalities. You get to see Adolis Garcia with his Latin roots be the guy that he wants to be. Dusty does the same thing with Yordan Alvarez, and that group clearly has a lot of fun. And that was a big job in trying to turn around that ship after the cheating scandal, and he's done a great job of that. I think the big thing, and Brooke, you've used the term several times this morning, leader of men. They just have that ability to lead people. And another guy that does is Brian Snitker. Now, they're dealing in Atlanta with a lack of quality starting pitching at the moment. Charlie Morton is injured. He's not even on the LCS roster. They had to start Bryce Elder last night. Well, Bryce Elder had overall a really good season, but in the second half of the year, Elder was not great, 5.11 earned run average in 13 starts after the All-Star break. Well, now, even though they're down 3-1, Snitker gets Spencer Strider for Game 4 and then Max Fried for a possible Game 5.
No, it's great. I say if we can't win one of those 2 games or both of those games with those guys, then you know what? I feel pretty good about the next 2 starts that we got.
got to win one in Philly, and I don't know that there's a more intimidating place to play right now.
Man, them guys are going crazy there, and it's fun to watch. I mean, when you think of playoff baseball, that's the environment you look for. I think that St. Louis has that when they're playing in October. It's just fun to watch the amount of excitement. I don't know if fans really know. I think they do, but I think, to hear it when you are a player and you're at home, either at home or the road, it can give you joy to quiet all of those fans if you're on the road. And if you're at home and your crowd is just going absolutely crazy, it does give you a boost of adrenaline that maybe you can do one more thing, one more time, give one more pitch, throw one more ball, swing a little bit harder than you might have not been able to if they weren't as loud.
And they're just ruthless. The way that they were chanting,
the tomahawk chop?
Huh?
The chop last night?
Yeah, they did the chop. But also they said, we want Strider. We want Strider. Because did you see, I don't know if he was joking or not, but there was this video going around of where Spencer Strider was asked if there was one thing he could change, what would it be? And he'd be like, fans. And he was probably being sarcastic, but it didn't sound like sarcasm. Yeah. So then the Phillies fans are eating that up. That's why I like, when you're talking about letting players be players, that's why I like that Thompson really lets Bryce Harper be who he is. Even with that whole Arcia situation with Orlando Arcia, maybe it was a little bit more dramatic, and there's a lot more to that story, but maybe it was a little bit more dramatic in that whole situation. But Bryce Harper kind of using that as an edge, something to have a chip on his shoulder. I mean, there's a lot of great athletes that have kind of manufactured stories or different things like that. Situations made them bigger to give them that edge, going into games, and that's what Bryce Harper did. But you also need to have a manager that allows you to do that. And the fact that he matches the fan base's energy, I feel like that's really hard to go up against.
Meanwhile, the Dodgers have been in the playoffs for 12 straight years, and they've won the World Series once, and that was in the COVID year. This year, they get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are on their way to the LCS. Here's Mookie Betts on losing in the playoffs again.
It's obviously super frustrating. There is no real words for it. They played better. We didn't do much. I can't speak for all of us, but I know for sure I did absolutely nothing to help us win. There's no real words for it.
There aren't words for what's happened to the Dodgers, and it's 11 in a row. Lost the NLCS in 2013 to the Cardinals, lost in the division series, lost the NLCS in 2016, then lost the World Series in 17 and 18, lost in the division series in 19, won the World Series in 20, then lost the championship series in 21, division series last year and this year.
I thought it was interesting what Greg said about Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, how they had to chase pitches, couldn't afford to walk because who was behind them, they didn't trust them enough to get on base or to get hits. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, but I find that interesting.
Yeah, because Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman weren't hitting at all, so at least get on base and hope that the people behind you can bring you in. Will Smith went 3 for 4 yesterday. I mean, you have to have confidence in your team. And then I guess the other question would be, I know you did this all season long. I'm sure they were 1 and 2 all season long. Do you mix them up? Do you bring a guy down and allow him to let someone bat in between Mookie and Freddie if they're not hitting or not getting on base?
They had one guy that was hitting, and that was Will Smith, the catcher.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think you move him up in the lineup. And J.D. Martinez hit 200 in the series.
Muncy hit 182. Yeah, Jason Hayward didn't.
Yeah, he didn't hit it all. So, I think it would have been smart to move your best hitter in the series up a little bit.
Yeah. The Dodgers' demise in the postseason, it just feels like it's inevitable at this point, just seeing them fall apart. And it just felt like it was done because in that game 1, you're setting the tone right. And for Clayton Kershaw just to implode in that way, I feel like it just spelled doom for the Dodgers for the rest of that series. And it really was decided by starting pitching. Carey, you mentioned this earlier, but the Dodgers pitchers, it was 4 2/3 innings, allowing 13 earned runs. I mean, what can you even do if you're Mookie Betts?
In 3 games.
And Freeman. Yeah, what can you do in those situations? There's nothing you can. And if you look at how the Diamondbacks did, it was totally different starting pitching-wise. But I'll also go back to what Greg Amsinger was saying about Torey Lovello. I just really like him as a manager, too. If you kind of look at his background, he definitely has embraced like the new age of baseball and the analytics, all that touchy subject that we like to talk about here. But he also incorporates a lot of old school, and a lot of the players say the same thing, is that he's a great leader. He's able to build trust quickly. And then also what the Diamondbacks did with spending the money on Corbin Carroll, that didn't look good when at first people were confused. They're like, why are you giving him this big contract? And now it's paying off, and you're seeing why they did that with him.
The Cardinals should do that with Jordan Walker. No doubt about it.
How about that?
We will perhaps know who the LCSs are going to be after tonight. 7 o'clock tonight for the Braves and Phillies Game 4. Next up, here on 101 ESPN, we've got our Rush Hour Reset. Stick around. Hey, happy Friday Eve. If you're looking for a great place for a business lunch, or you want to get together with the buddies, or you want to get together for a great dinner tonight, stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. Their lunch specials are sensational. Today they'll have meatloaf with your choice of 2 sides, plus the soup of the day over at the Fenton Bar and Grill is gumbo, and it is absolutely delicious. You will love all of the food at the Fenton Bar and Grill. I'm a big fan of their chicken Caesar wrap. I really enjoy that, and all of their specials are fantastic. And then if you want to stop by later, man, they're happy hour specials from 2 to 5 are fantastic mini tacos, their fried dill pickles, cheese curds, their breaded portobello mushroom strips. Everything at the Fenton Bar and Grill is delicious. And you'll love the people. You'll love stopping by and saying hi to Ashley and Megan and Kelly and Alicia. The whole gang will be there. They'll be talking sports. They'll be having fun. And you'll love the other customers, too, because they're sports fans just like you are. It's the Fenton Bar and Grill. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com and tell them Randy sent you.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It's 9:05 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, Randy Karraker, and the Blues open up their season tonight in Dallas against the Stars. 7 o'clock face-off. Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale will have the call. The pregame for you at 6 here on 101 ESPN. And as we get started on the first of 82, Doug Armstrong has some hopes for the season.
I'd love to get third place. I think that I'll say the way I look at it, I see Dallas and I see Colorado as a different maturation part in their organizations. They seem to be a half a letter to a full letter grade ahead. But then I look at Minnesota. I look at what Winnipeg's going through, what Nashville's going through, what we're going through. So I don't see us being in that group of players starting out, hoping to get the first overall pick. That's not what we're looking at. Now, how far they can take it, I think we should be competitive with the groups with that. If you break the league into thirds, I hope to be in competitive with that middle third, and I hope to be at the top end of that middle third.
I really appreciate the honesty. He's not blowing smoke and saying, yeah, we hope to win the division. I hope to finish in third place in the division. I love that honesty, and I agree with his assessment.
I agree with his assessment, too, but I guess it is very different to be that blunt, because he's not the only one that has said that. We talked to Jamie Rivers yesterday, and he said the exact same thing. It feels like a lot of people here in St. Louis think that they'll finish third in the division, but outside the national media, which they're not here, they're not boots in the ground actually looking at things and practices and the changes that have been made, so I'll believe the people here more. But outside of St. Louis, a lot of people don't think that they'll finish third in the division. Mm-hmm. I appreciate Army's honesty about what the season will look like. I wonder if they've already been seeing something that makes them think that, or it's just that the Stars and obviously the Avalanche, which has always been a pain for the Blues, that they have made more strides.
They have more good players, more established players. And the Blues have a lot of things that they need to go well. The defense obviously didn't play well last year. The new coaching from Mike Weber has to improve the way the defense plays. And we really don't know about Vrana, even though he was a goal every game guy for the Blues, 10 goals in 20 games. We don't know about Vrana and Kapanen. And I think Vrana is a big guy for this team because they don't really have a ton of scoring depth like they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think he is as well. And we talked about Pavel Buchnevich and Kasperi Kapanen. I'm excited to see those guys, how well they play. I want to see that first line. I want to see that fourth line. I want to see if they have that grit that we talk about a fourth line needing to have. Toro, I'm a fan. I mean, anytime you call out veteran guys and say we're not playing well enough like he did last year, I'm a fan of who he is, and I'm looking forward to just seeing. Obviously, the energy is going to be there because it's the opening night, right? It's the first game of the year. How are they performing in Game 10? How are they performing in Game 20, in Game 25? Is that energy still there? That's a ways away. I think tonight will give you a good idea of how the defense is going to go, how well they're going to play together, are they going to be connected, and if they are all bought in to helping make this team better than it was last year.
Yeah, last year Game 10 was not great.
No.
It was in the middle of an 8-game losing streak, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you mentioned that fourth line. I think that this is why it's so weird to me that the Athletic, once again, not Jeremy Rutherford, our friend of the show, who will be coming up here shortly, but the rest of the Athletic, the national writers, the ones who aren't here in St. Louis, keep saying over and over again that Craig Berube's on the hot seat, that they're predicting that he'll be one of the coaches to go. To me, that doesn't make any sense, because when you're talking about the fourth line, it feels like we're getting back to that fourth line, that identity that Craig Berube likes. He's bringing in players. Kevin Hayes kind of got that comparison the other day to Pat Maroon. I was able to witness what Pat Maroon did in that locker room, the way that he was able to kind of break through all the different age groups, and how he really made sure he bought into what Berube was saying of egos are checked to the door, and that's not going to be allowed here. He really worked on bringing all the different guys together, and we saw how that paid off. So having a chemistry glue guy like Kevin Hayes, I think that that's a part of Craig Berube and what he wants. If you're bringing in all these pieces that are essentially more in line with what Craig Berube wants, to me, why would he be in the hot seat?
Right. And
it doesn't make any sense.
Once you get him the players, then there's only one thing left to do. But we don't have our machine up. Darn it. We don't have our machine. Don't we need our machine. Simple.
Woo.
Simple.
That pause really just hit that one home, too, with that, where you had to think about that for a second.
He had to think about it. Violence always.
It's never, especially in sports.
Yeah, it's loud.
Listen, one thing, there was a motto that we had: most physical team is going to win games. And so if you are really bullying the other team, in some sports you're going to win.
You got a chance. The NLCS will perhaps be set tonight. Philadelphia and Atlanta, game 4 of their series. Philly leads 2-1. That game at 7 o'clock tonight. Arizona eliminated the Dodgers last night, sweeping the Dodgers out of the playoffs with a 4-2 win. Texas was already in, and Houston took care of Minnesota last night. They win that series 3-1. So it will be the Astros and the Rangers for the American League Championship Series. That is your Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. As Brooke mentioned, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, is next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, BT here. Are you looking for a job or tired of the one that you have? Well, family-owned O'Fallon Casting is growing, and they're looking to hire you. Join their team today to receive great pay and benefits while supporting our nation's largest defense and aerospace contractors. Current openings include experienced maintenance technicians, welders, quality, visual inspection, and more. Located in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway 70 and T.R. Hughes. Visit their website at O'FallonCasting.com or call 636-272-6176. Look for your new career at O'Fallon. Casting.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime. Tonight, it's an AFC West showdown as Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos head to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the defending champion Chiefs. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. It's the Broncos and the Chiefs tonight on Thursday Night Football, and it's on Prime. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Hey, it's Carey, and if your windows are cracked, if they're opening, not closing properly, well, you need new windows. It's about to get cold, and the mornings are already cold. You don't want that cold air seeping in and leaving you just freezing in the morning. New windows from Window Nation can help you out. They are one of the top window companies in the country with a 96% satisfaction rate. They have sold over 20,000 windows. The installer has installed over 20,000 windows. each year. And so you want a company that knows what they're doing. Fall is here. You get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. You put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 full years. If the windows are hard to open or close, well, again, you need new windows from Window Nation. Call 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com. New windows will save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Go with the company that has installed nearly 2 million windows, and they are going to get you windows that you will love. Your neighbors will be envious. Call 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com.
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. News, notes, and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Jeremy Rutherford getting ready for another season of covering your St. Louis Blues. He's our Blues insider here on 101 ESPN. JR, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Doing well, thank you.
How many years covering the Blues for you now, combined with the Post-Dispatch and the Athletic?
I think this is number 19.
Well, that's a long time. Yeah, good job. Good. So hopefully number 19 will be another Stanley Cup championship season. We were just talking about how we appreciate the honesty of Doug Armstrong saying, I hope we finish third.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. You know, yesterday we had that Zoom session with Doug Armstrong. And let me tell you something, is as a young reporter, speaking about doing this for 19 years, as a young reporter back in the day, I tried to gain some knowledge, listen to the veteran reporters, how do you go about things sometimes? And I remember Joe Buck, Trey Wingo, Frank Cusimano, a number of those guys would say, just keep the questions simple. Just keep them simple. And so yesterday as the Zoom was wrapping up, I thought to myself, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to ask Doug, do you think this is a playoff team? And I was kind of surprised when he said, yeah, we're looking for third place.
We were talking about how we appreciate that honesty, though, from Army, right?
Yeah, Brooke, I agree. And I think that he's been pretty good about the honesty over the years. I think that sometimes, he can't tell you everything, certainly. But I think in these situations, I think the transparency with this retool so far has been like that. I think that Doug has come out and said, here's where we are, here's what we want to do. And yesterday, not just the comment about, I'm hoping for third place, but beyond that, he said, I think it's going to be an attitudinal look. That's what we want to see. We want to see how do these guys come together? Do they, if they're down 4-2, do they keep it 4-2 and not lose the game 6-2? How do they play? I'm not going to be looking at the standings, is what Doug Armstrong said yesterday. I'm going to be looking at the foundation, how this team comes together. And I think that's what Blues fans are looking for right now.
JR, I keep my subscription with The Athletic because of you and Katie Wu. You guys do fantastic work. But there's some times that I'm like, how do I avoid the rest of the articles? Because why does The Athletic want to fire essentially Craig Berube? I keep seeing all these different articles and lists where they're predicting that he might go or he'll be in the hot seat. What do you think the reasoning is behind that?
Yeah, it's funny to sit next to Riv at practice the other day and say, hey, watch it. On that athletic criticism. I'm just teasing him. But I totally understand it, with the rankings and with the hot seat. To be honest with you, and this is, just like Doug's being honest with the retool, I'm being honest with you with these things, is that I think some people get latched on to situations and they see the free fall in St. Louis and they think to themselves, well, it must be going horribly there, and people aren't going to survive, and people are going to be traded. That could be the case. Sometimes you criticize these national people for making these types of predictions, and then here we are 3 months into the season, things aren't going well, and Craig Berube does get let go. So I think those things are possible, but I think more often than not, Brooke, that's what happens is people latch onto situations and think to themselves, it must not be going well there, where I do think there's a lot of talent on this team. Like I said in my article this morning, the Blues shouldn't be focused on making the playoffs. Like Doug said, they should be focused on, correcting this foundation. But I don't think it's that far off, and I don't think they're looking to stray away from Craig Berube to get there.
So essentially, what my thought process is here, based on what Doug Armstrong said, if Craig Berube loses the team, that's how he'll get fired. It's not going to be based on wins and losses.
I think so, 100%. And I think that, if you see a team that comes out and everything's been put in place, Randy, to make this team play the way that, Craig Berube's style, and we see the size. We wrote about that earlier in camp, and the attitude. Craig Berube's all about the attitude. Now here you hear Doug saying, hey, we want to see an attitude here. You want to protect the goaltender, Doug Armstrong said yesterday, things like that. These are all Craig Berube coach-type things. And so I think that if you do get 3 or 4 months into the season, and regardless what the record is, but I think if you see a team that's not playing that way and not using the skill level that it has either, I think at that point you get to a situation where, well, what else can you do? We've kind of set the table for this to be successful, and it's still not working. So at that point, you probably have to move on. But I think that Doug has put everything in place to go along with Craig.
JR, how noticeable will this change of defensive style be tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it in a real game, Carey, because I asked Doug Armstrong yesterday, hey, what have you seen from this defense in terms of the tweaks and how they're playing now? And he said it's just so hard in the practices and even the preseason games, because in the practices, the forwards know what's coming, so they know what to do to try to beat it. But tonight you're going to see a situation where you got a really good Dallas team. A lot of people are picking these Stars to win the Stanley Cup, and they've got some good forwards. They're a little bit banged up. I think Rupe Hintz has been had a nagging injury, but I think you got a situation where they're going to be coming at you tonight. And so I'm excited to be here in Dallas. I'm excited to watch the changes on defense, how they're applied, how the team is performing, and how they can stack up against a really good Dallas team, like I said.
JR, we're about to, in our next segment, talk about the Blues preseason superlatives and some future bets. But I want to just ask you, for a couple of them, who do you think for MVP, just talking about who will be the best, obviously, for the Blues this season, who do you predict MVP for the Blues this season?
MVP, yeah, that's a tough one. I'm still on Kyrou in terms of I think he can be that star. But in order for Jordan Kyrou to be a star, obviously Robert Thomas has to be dishing him the puck, which is going to put him in that category also. I think that in terms of recognition and highlight real goals and making plays, it's going to be those two. But let's not forget about Pavel Buchnevich. If he can stay healthy and if he can play the style of game that he's played the past couple of years for the Blues, 200-foot game, I really do think a full schedule of games he can be the team MVP. So I know that I've been saying a lot about Kyrou and Thomas lately, and I think they're going to put up the numbers. I think they're going to be, on the news every night in terms of the plays that we're watching. But I think Pavel Buchnevich is a guy who could be this team MVP.
What about best fighter? That's another category.
There's a best fighter category. Are we even doing that anymore?
Why not? I already have somebody in mind. I want to see if it's the same as what I'm thinking.
All right, let's go with Tyler Tucker. Is that who you were thinking?
I was thinking Braden Shen.
Braden Shen, yeah. Well, he's got that C, so I don't know. I think you're right in terms of he's going to care and he's going to stick up for people. I guess the question's always been with him is, does he have to be the guy? Like I don't want my second line center breaking his hand in Game 6 because he's sticking up for a teammate. So I'm going to go with Tyler Tucker.
What about Binner?
Yeah, that could be.
I would love to see that.
We need to.
Here comes Shovel Day.
Yeah. One other thing, JR, from me, and this is from your bold predictions article. Somebody suggested that Jordan Kyrou gets benched. If Jordan Kyrou gets benched, then all bets are off for where this team is and where it's going, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we like to have fun with those bold predictions. Those were predictions that were sent in by fans a couple days ago, and a fan sent in that bold prediction. Yeah, certainly if Jordan Kyrou is benched, this thing has gone sideways. The key, and this is being serious here, the key will be if he's not going well, Randy, to watch during games. Like, you're not going to see a situation where he's healthy scratch. But if you go the second period and he goes 10, 12 minutes without playing a shift, those are the times that are kind of tough to see unless you're really, really paying attention to the game. But I think that if we see some of those, that could be trouble for Jordan Kyrou because that relationship with Craig Berube in terms of ice time has been frosty in the past. He's got to take that next step. He's got to get rid of those situations between he and the coach and obviously make that next step professionally.
Is Jamie Benn good enough to hate anymore?
I don't think so. He had a great season, but then I think he slowed down a little bit at the end of last year. So this is a really good team. I listened to Pete DeBoer in the Uber yesterday. He did a long interview with the radio station here. He's excited about this team, and they've got a lot of good parts, I think is the way to say it. I wouldn't call Jamie Benn maybe a star anymore, but the other situation I look at, Blues fans can't like him right after he sat on Alex Pietrangelo.
No, we can't. No, that's it. No, we don't like that. JR, have a great day in Dallas. Enjoy yourself, and we'll check out your reporting on the Blues and the Stars at The Athletic.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, JR. Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. Getting excited about the hockey season starting tonight here on 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6 o'clock for the Blues and the Stars. And, oh, by the way, if you want to watch us on the old YouTube, all you need to do is join us on YouTube at 101 ESPN STL. Air Alliance Team YouTube channel. So check us out with
Studio
our
cams.
Studio cam. That's official.
There we have to do the
with the van.
There we go.
So that's a good thing.
That was
so much other cool stuff happening. Andrew Marsh has a Pick'em Challenge live remote today at the Cybergs in Arnold from 6 to 8. So that'll be. You want to just go hang out with Marshy? Well, we got cool stuff coming up. If you've never had the opportunity to meet Andrew Marsh, there might be one guy who has hair as magnificent as Greg Amsinger's, and it's Andrew Marsh. And okay. Well, then it'll be a really good thing. Okay, so Marshy's Pick'em Challenge live remote.
That was just in your headphones, by the way.
Learn I thought you were talking. No, sorry.
There's a lot that just happened there.
You to give out to everybody else.
I got it.
Learn
You
from
just
105 the point we're also being Andrew Marsh.
God, is that you?
I realize sometimes you guys can't tell.
No, we can't.
If I try to tell you guys stuff, you guys don't know if it goes over the air or not.
It didn't make sense to me either, and I understand why he's. Oh yeah, it's good.
I believe the only if you can't hear yourself anymore, it's not going over the air because I'm in your. That's how you know.
I heard it, but it was kind of. Like, we all knew what it was.
Yeah.
But
I haven't been doing this long enough. I have to figure this out. Coming up next, our Blues preseason superlatives and futures on 101 ESPN. If you want to get an outdoor project done at your home, the only company to call is Chesterfield Fence and Deck. You can find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com or call 800-300-4054. That's 800-300-4054. Why Chesterfield Fence and Deck? Well, they're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've been in St. Louis, family-owned and operated for 55 years. They started in 1968, and when you stick around that long, that means you're doing it right. So if you drive by a house that has a sign on their fence that says Chesterfield Fence and Deck, that's the sign that you have the very best. And it's not just cedar or vinyl fences or cedar or vinyl decks, but if you want to have that deck converted into a sunroom or a screen room, Chesterfield Fence and Deck will do it. They'll do great work at it. They're all about and have a commitment to doing great work for you. It's a wonderful company with great people. I love them. I had them put in my fence, and you'll love them too. Give them a call at 800-300-4054. Find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. And when you tell them Randy sent you, they'll give you 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. It's Blues opening day here as they will face off against the Stars at the 7 p.m. puck drop. But you can start your day off with a 6 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN for the Blues and the Stars. And throughout the entire day, we'll have plenty of Blues coverage. In fact, you can go back and check out our Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast today on 101ESPN.com and hear Carey, Brooke, and Randy talk the season opener with Hall of Famer Bernie Federko and St. Louis Blues insider for The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford. Also coming up later tonight, the Phillies will try to finish off the Braves. They beat them 10-2 last night to take a 2-1 lead in that series. They will look again to finish it off 7:07 first pitch tonight in Philadelphia. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Opening drive, preseason predictions, superlatives, and futures. All right, Matthew Rocchio, ask away. What do you got for us?
You heard it right off the bat. We got to know. Blues MVP for 2023-2024 season. Who's it going to be?
Pavel Buchnevich.
Dang, right off the bat, Brooke.
I'm sorry. I'm the president and CEO of the Lars Nootbaar fan club, and I'm going to start a new fan club, the Pavel Buchnevich fan club. I got to think of the name first. I got to workshop that. So if anybody wants to text into that and let me know, and I'll steal it.
Booch's bunch.
You don't like that?
You hater. You unbelievable hater. Can never do anything right for you.
You asked my opinion. I gave it. It's not a problem. I'm going to go, so it's a little outside the box.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Kevin Hayes.
Good.
It's MVP.
I went with Buchnevich last year, and it did not age well.
Did not go well.
I'm going to go with our guy, Bobby Tommy.
Bobby Tommy. Bobby Tommy.
Who's that?
I call him Smooth.
Oh, and why do you call him Smooth? But nobody else does.
Because Rob Thomas wrote that beautiful anthem.
Yep.
And for some reason, we just don't give him any credit for
Bobby
it.
Tommy.
We should ask Robert Thomas if he knows that song. He did go on stage. He met Rob Thomas. So
But he might not know the song.
Does he know the song? But
does he know the songs by Rob Thomas? I think because everyone knows the song.
It says it's Carlos Santana featuring Rob Thomas.
Good point.
Guess who wrote the song?
Yeah, I'm telling you what. I didn't ask you that.
All right,
I'm telling you what it says.
I'm calling this one. Throw out the Norris Trophy. Get out of here. I'm calling it the Chopper Cup. The best Blues defenseman for this season.
Ooh.
Get the Norris
What you got?
Trophy out of
You
here.
go ahead, Randy.
Well,
What
I
do
want
you got?
defenseman, by the way. Don't be just doing this whole, we get the most points as the defenseman, you win. That's the Norris Trophy. This is the Chopper Cup. I want some defensemen.
I'm just gonna play the chalk here. I'm going with Justin Falk, number 72.
I was going to say Justin Falk, too.
I'm going to go outside the box again because I think he's going to move up due to injury or due to good play. I'm going to go Tyler Tucker.
Tucky, I like that.
Yeah.
What?
No, he's going to play.
That is out there.
This is, see, you're criticizing my opinion.
I am.
Yeah, okay, well, that's why you do it in return.
You went outside the box. I wasn't expecting it.
It would have been Callie Rose if he wasn't.
It would have been
very
Callie
true.
Rose
There you
that was
go.
on the roster.
Yeah.
You better know that.
He's still in the system.
He ain't on this
called up,
roster.
though.
Nah,
He get called up.
my guy got done dirty. We gotta talk to some people.
Okay, I'm going to go with one. Bernie Federko talking about some of these players and coming back to maybe some previous heights they had in their career. This made me think of a new one. Turning back the clock award. Who reaches back into their career and brings up some of that old school greatness, and we see it on the ice again this year? Who's most likely to pull it back and play better than maybe the way they did 2 years ago when the Blues were, 100 wins and the defense was playing really good?
One person, isn't it? There's only one person.
I think there's multiple candidates
Are you
here.
going to say Jordan Bennington? Is that what you're thinking?
That'd be nice. I'm going to go with Bennington.
Yes.
I'm going to go Colton Parayko.
Colton Parayko. I think Colton Parayko is a great choice. I almost was going to say Justin Falk again. Is that okay if I say two people or use him twice?
They're different superlatives, so
This
you
is
can
his
do multiple.
12th season in the NHL, and he was very frustrated, which they all were, of course, by the way things ended last year. I just feel like Justin Falk, this will be a really good season for him.
I'm going to change mine. I'm going with Sonny.
Oh, I like that one.
We don't have this one on the list, so I have to.
No, we had to.
Carey, I'm
He's
keeping.
like throwing it.
Carey, I'm keeping. I'm keeping all everyone's answers nice and easy. We asked JR this question. I called it the Golden Gloves on the list. Who is going to be the best fighter for the Blues? Few and far between, but there's going to be a scrap that makes you say, okay, I like what this kid's got here. No more Nadub, unfortunately, else he'd be the easy answer. So who's your answer for the best fighter for the Blues?
Easy answer.
Are you saying like getting the most fights or the better fighter?
I say best fighter.
Tyler Tucker, okay. I like that. I'm going to go Toro. He feels like yeah, man. Leave
Also,
that
Brooke,
guy alone.
this is how you feel. Is best fighter to you the guy who gets in the best fights, or is it the guy who throws the hardest punches?
I think Braden Shin is a great fighter, but I do understand with what JR was saying earlier that you don't necessarily want your captain taking those fights. But I think the way his technique, I think he's a really, really good fighter. But I think I might have to go with Tyler Tucker, too. I think he's not afraid of a fight.
How about if we do it in superlative fashion? Most likely to get in a fight.
There you go.
Then it's Braden Shin.
Jordan Bennington, then. Oh, okay. Oh, whoopsies.
Toro is 6'6". I mean, the reach.
Yeah.
The reach that one would have. Yeah, I'm going there.
I want a Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou fight. Not fighting each other, of course, because that would be terrible. I'm saying, I want just one fight from
Going
them.
after it.
Yeah.
One each. I want it to be a line brawl, and I want him to knock Connor Bedard out.
Whoa. What did that guy do to you?
Blackhawk.
Yeah.
And I can't put the bounty on him, so.
There's a couple young players, not as many as maybe you hoped going into the preseason, who are going to be on this roster. So keeping it under 23 because Robert Thomas is too easy of an answer if you raise it to 24. So keeping it at 23 or under, the young player of the year for the Blues.
Jake Neighbors.
Yes.
I'm going with Jake Neighbors. I like Jake Neighbors and his game. I just like the way that he goes about things. Even he calls himself like a throwback player, essentially. I think this will be a really good season for him and his growth.
Can I go Joel Hofer?
Of course you can. Please do.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Might not. I mean, how many games? 25, 30 games. But he'll be a vital part of what's going on.
You never know, CD. You never know.
That's Brooke. All right.
It's got to be 23 and under. Is that our limit?
Yeah, that's the limit.
Because he didn't want Rob Tom.
Yeah, it's too easy. Thomas is 24. It's too easy. So I'm keeping
Rob Tom.
And you get 3 or 4 candidates. And if you go to the minor league, there's another couple candidates down there potentially.
I'm going to go with Hofer.
You're going to go with Hofer there? That makes sense, I think. I think Joel Hofer's a pretty good pick. And we're going to switch it over here quickly to some futures. Speaking of the goaltenders, I'm going to go with over-under on the Joel Hofer starts. We're going to put it at 30.5 for Carey Davis.
Ooh.
Over 30?
Yep, over-under 30.5.
Gonna go
31.
under at 27, 28 starts.
Going under? All right. Carey's got under?
I think I'll do over.
Good.
Well, I mean, you were predicting a goalie controversy earlier in the show. Brooke, you gotta stay consistent.
You see more goalie tandems now, and I just think that you'll probably see Hofer a little bit, but I think that either way, rooting for Jordan Binnington.
I'm going to guess that Binner plays 55 games. So that would give Hofer 27. So I'm going to go under.
Everyone's going to go under. All right, fine. Speaking of Jordan Binnington, I'm going to go with over-under for new Jordan Binnington rivalries that he establishes this season. I'm going to go over-under 2.5.
Okay, so this is beyond like the San Jose rivalry and the Colorado rivalry.
Yes. Kadri does not count in this situation.
Did you watch that guy last year? He doesn't like anybody, and I like him because of it.
I'm going to go under.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Because I think he's already got everybody in the league as a rival.
Randy, he strikes me as a guy that, thrives on anger and not liking people. And if you have to make something up in your brain to get you fired up, yeah, I'm with it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he turns it to kind of what Jack Flaherty did, where he puts out like a Joker video.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
Likes that. He embraces the villain mentality.
It really worked well for Flaherty.
Oh, whoa. So don't do that. How about that?
How about that?
What's another villain he can emulate?
This
Tommy Pham? Just have your stats ready at all times whenever the media is there.
Does the rivalry have to be an opposing team and player?
No, I didn't say that.
There you go. Over.
Okay, over.
Okay, over. Everyone's taking the over. Torrey Krug started games over under 40.5.
So this is not like starting on the ice, but just being in the lineup.
Yes, being in the lineup.
Night.
Yes.
What's the over under 45?
40.5.
Way over.
You said Torrey
I'm
Krug?
going to say over.
That's for the Blues, not for the whole season.
Yeah,
not overall.
You got to say over. I mean, if what are we doing here?
Yeah.
If he's come on.
All right.
Yep, 65.
And my final one here. Doug Armstrong in-season press conferences, 0.5 over-under.
Over.
It's going to be over.
All right. Yeah, 1.5. You didn't want to keep it that?
Are you just hoping
I'm just
that
talking
things
about,
will go
I'm just
well?
talking about the big press conferences, the big in-season ones. Like we got one of them. We got one. Pretty much a big one last year. I'm just saying. Do we get a big Doug?
We had a lot.
Armstrong. Everything's falling down.
If you're saying they're going to trade Krug, that's one right there.
I didn't say they were. I was asking you if they might.
Okay.
Or maybe Scott Prunovich.
trade him?
Or maybe Scott Prunovich gets that 10-game stretch that Jamie Rivers is talking about and establishes himself on the power play. And now all of a sudden, maybe you keep on playing the young guy.
I'm going to bet the over because I can't remember a year where Army didn't have a press conference.
He's also doing a lot more.
Yeah.
Like he did 3 different big ones here in the preseason, which I like. Like we said, we like the honesty. We like when the Blues are coming out and talking to the fans, and hopefully they're a little bit more positive this time. Maybe they're not doom and gloom as last time.
Well, I mean, he kind of needed to address some things that happened this past season.
Hey, we've been shown sometimes you don't need to address it, Brooke. You can just let it keep happening and let everyone wonder, hey, what the hell's going on down there?
We should do a segment someday for favorite all-time Doug Armstrong press conference.
Ooh. Yeah.
Last year's when he said, I told the players, the coach isn't going anywhere. That was a pretty good, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
I have 2 very important updates on nicknames, okay? So Darth Binnington, that can be his
that's a good one.
villain. And then Bucci's Babies.
Babies.
Bucci's Babies. Do you want to come on, Brooke? You have to ask yourself. Do you want to come on air and say I am the proud CEO and spokesperson for Bucci's Babies? Is that a statement you want to make on the air?
Yeah, I just imagine trying to explain that to Pavel Buchnevich.
That's the only line that needs to cross. If Brooke's okay with saying I am the proud chairperson of Bucci's Babies.
I can join the Nutty Noodles of New Nation. I can't join Bucci's Babies.
We're going Goo Goo Gaga over Pavel Buchnevich.
All right, I'm out. No, I'm out.
That'd be like having a fan club called Cromartie's Kids.
I'm okay. I'll sit that one out.
So.
I like any Antonio Cromartie joke. Always hits.
It always plays.
It always plays.
Yeah. And never forget, folks. Never forget.
Do you is there any other one that enters the conversation for you?
I think this is Secretariat in the Belmont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By itself.
It's lasted for a long time too. I think that was 2013 or 14.
He openly talked about
murder
strategies.
Murder.
What else do you want from a GM?
That's what you want. You want that from every GM in town.
Take notes, John.
Yeah, take notes. We've got rock and roll headed down the stretch here of the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
This Sunday, it's an NFL Sunday triple header. Game 1, Browns and 49ers. Game 2, Raiders and Patriots. Game 3.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've loved exploring my new home, and thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot more congested traffic and made it harder to get to events like concerts and games. But that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to take for everyone, taking you right to Busch Stadium, City Park, Enterprise Center, and more without the hassle of parking, waiting in traffic, or trying to find an Uber. You know how bad those surge prices are. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something that I can promise you other places wish they had available. There's many benefits even if you don't drive or ride, A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses to come here and create a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
First of all, it's sunshine and lollipops. But we get a text from the 314. Everything for Blues is sunshine and rainbows and lollipops. And the Cards, they're the worst team in all history of all of sports. Sunshine.
It's almost like...
never saw the 0-16 Detroit Lions play, huh?
Context.
No, they were pretty bad.
So they're mad that everything about the Cardinals is negative and that we're having some positivity about the Blues. It's almost like one of them just finished a season and the other one's about to start one.
So can't believe you guys are happy for third place. That seems crazy. Seems like finishing in third worked out okay in 2019.
It did.
Just get in the playoffs, man.
Get in the tournament.
Worry about everything else later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm just excited about having a good season.
Why wouldn't you be excited about hockey season starting?
I don't know.
I don't get.
Maybe you're, as Goose Gossage would call him, a negative blanker.
Negative Nancy, Debbie Downer.
Did he?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I just think sometimes we run into it, and we saw this a lot around the reporting around that Arenado story to the Dodgers, which is more and more people just yell and say, "Oh no, why are you talking about this? This is dumb. This isn't real." When they simply just don't like the facts in a story, they just don't want you to talk about it because they don't like the facts in a story. And that's we've gotten multiple ones where it's like, "Why are you guys talking so negatively about the Cardinals? Do you want us to fabricate something that's not true just to be flowery and positive? Like, this is the reality of the situation. What else do you want from us?" It's a weird thing for me.
I don't pay attention to what people say.
I think a lot of people just like being angry, honestly.
Well, I get that.
Just people. I don't give too much. I don't pay too much attention to it.
No.
I don't care.
All right, Carey, there's a lot of things I shouldn't pay attention to, but I do. Like ESPN's coverage of one of my favorite sports, and that is the National Basketball League. And they decided to throw two things out there that I made me want to tear my hair out, and that was one, Chris Broussard came out and said that if he was starting a team... Why?
It's too good.
All right, fine. I'll figure something else out. Chris Broussard came out and said if he was starting a team right now, he would take Victor Wembanyama over Giannis Antetokounmpo because just when it comes down to being a more dominant player, Wembanyama can do it in all facets of the game where I don't really know about Giannis. This is the guy that scored... This guy that scored like 50 in a game-clinching Game 6 in the NBA Finals, but you want the rookie who's 7'4" and you haven't seen play one single time yet. And then they capped it off by putting out a player rankings for the NBA this year, and while I love Giannis, they put him number 1 and they put Jokic 2. I'm just very confused about what's going on in the meeting rooms right now at the global leader when it comes to talking about NBA. I don't get it.
Broussard, I think, works for FS1, right?
Does he work for FS1 now?
Yeah.
I missed the Chiron at the bottom. Maybe that's the problem.
Here's the thing. I mean, I don't have a problem. Again, rankings are rankings. I wouldn't take Victor Wembanyama over Giannis. I mean, he hasn't actually played a game, as you said. I would take Giannis over Jokic. Oh, don't let your computer fall. That was crazy. I would take Giannis over Jokic because I mean, other than the free throws, man, I'm going to take Giannis over pretty much everybody because he's a different kind of cat.
Yeah,
he's a special cat.
I'm not going to take Victor Wembanyama over anybody before I see him play.
That is kind of confusing. Was there any other reasoning behind it, or just?
I mean, they were trying to make a. They were trying to this.
Okay.
People being mad that it's a dumb take, and people reacting to that. It wasn't a good take from Broussard. He was talking about how Giannis has certain parts of his game where he's limited, and Wembanyama has the entire range in front of him, and that's what changes it.
He could be on a show with Skip Bayless and have the best take, though.
Oh.
Skip doesn't have great takes.
I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Speaking of tall, what about Taco Fall? Whatever happened to him? Did that translate?
Taco Fall.
I haven't heard the name Taco Fall in a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a good call, my brother.
Is he 7'6"?
Is he what?
Was he 7'6" or is he?
I remember seeing him in person. He was massive. Okay, let's see.
By the way, the tallest players in the NBA haven't exactly been the best. Sean Bradley got
7'6".
Got clowned a lot. Yao Ming got dunked on by Allen Iverson. 7'6". That's ridiculous.
Is 7'4" or is he 7'3"? Not that it matters.
Doesn't matter. This actually just got passed along to me by Mike Ryder. We missed this because obviously part of our show overlaps with our good friend Michelle Smallman with Evan Cohen and Chris Canty on Sportsmanlike on ESPN. You can hear the first 2 hours every morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on 101 ESPN. They actually had Adam Wainwright on this morning, and he gave a great answer about the Cardinals kind of attracting free agents and why the Cardinals' consistency has been so important over the last few years, if you want to get back to why we have different expectations for the Blues and the Cardinals.
Well, the organization, there's so much that they poured into us. They teach the players, they
I think Yachty had some incredible instruction growing up from his dad and his brothers, obviously. But, you know, he gets over to St. Louis, and Dave Ricketts and some other amazing people really poured into him. Jose Akindo pours into him. Tony La Russa pours into him. You know, I get over to the St. Louis Cardinals, and Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa and George Kissel and all these legendary names that maybe not everyone knows George Kissel's name or Dave Ricketts' name. But these are, in Jose Akindo, these are incredible teachers of the game. And the game that they were taught was passed down to them. And that's, I think, the Cardinal way, what you're talking about. And it's probably like this in a lot of organizations, or some organizations at least. But the winning organizations, they have systems that they pass down, and they have traditions that they pass down. And the Cardinals, the best leaders exist to replace themselves. And so when I'm sitting next to a young pitcher in the locker room and I see him messing up, I say, hey, buddy, let me tell you, let me show you the way. Follow me. Watch what I do.
Adam Wainwright this morning on Unsportsmanlike. None of those names exist anymore in the Cardinals. Well, Oquendo does, but the Cardinals don't have.
But he's in Palm Beach, right?
Cardinals don't have a catching instructor. Dave Ricketts was that guy. So the Cardinal way has kind of gone the way of the dodo bird, which I think is extinct.
I remember learning about that bird in first grade and just being like, this is the weirdest story ever.
It was.
But
It
that
went
was a great
extinct, right?
comparison. Yeah. You don't want to become extinct whatsoever.
Yeah, the Cardinal way kind of exists in Baltimore, actually.
Who carries
in other organizations?
Who carries the Cardinal way forward? Who's the one that's going to carry that flag going forward? From
I couldn't tell you.
That's a great question.
I'm serious. I mean,
because it could be player, front office, could be Bill DeWitt the third.
Who is? I think it's a player. Like when you look at the Patriots, they lost the Patriot way when Tom Brady left. So who is the player that carries that standard going for? I feel like Pittsburgh kind of lost it a little bit at some point. They haven't, have that guy. Pittsburgh Steelers, like, you have to have guys as Adam just said that replace the guy when he leaves.
And I think it's hard. This is no affront to anybody, but it's hard if you didn't grow up with the birds on the bat. And that's not your only culture. Like for Goldie would be the perfect example, but it's hard for a guy who never spent a day in the Cardinal minor league system to know what the Cardinal minor league system is like.
No. And that is a really good question. I think that it would have to be I know that you said player, but I think it would have to be Ollie Marmol because he's been through the Cardinals organization. He would be the one that would have to really hammer home the expectations of the Cardinals way.
But then he needs some help from the front office, right?
Lars?
Yes. He's still, I feel like, kind of early on in all this, but Tommy, I think it does say a lot. Yeah, Tommy, yeah. I think it does say a lot that they keep mentioning that Lars Nootbaar is a part of their future and what at least they're looking forward to next season. So maybe they do see him carrying that on in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see
things
what
change.
24 looks like.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you look at what the winning teams are doing now, it's kind of different than what the Cardinals did this year.
I love it. But the winning part?
Yeah.
Okay.
One final thing. I need point total projections for the 2023-2024 St. Louis Blues from all three of you.
Oh.
What did they have last year?
80.
80?
Let's go 90.
Who was it that said 90 the other day? Was that
John Kelly, feeling very good about this year's Blues, said 95 to 100 if everything clicks defensively.
I'm going to say...
And he, like Bernie, very big on this top line of Thomas,
Yes.
Kyrou, and Boots just killing it this year.
I'm going to say 80 or 90. I'm going to go with 90.
90?
How about that?
How about that?
I'm being sunshine.
You can have whatever number you want, Carey.
I know, but I'm
You can
trying
have
to think
whatever number
realistic.
you want.
Let's say 92.
92.
Oh, we're being
We are sunshine
positive.
lollipops.
Sunshine lollipops?
Well, it's the first day of the season. I want to be
gonna
sunshine
go-
They were
lollipops.
81 points last year.
I'm going to go 97.
Woo!
Wow.
97. Last year it took it would have taken 96 to be in third place in the division. And I think they are a third place team. And I don't think that their division mates are that great. Winnipeg, Nashville, Arizona, Chicago. I think that they can not beat up on those teams, but I think they can succeed against those teams to the level where they can get 97 points. That's what I'm going with.
You heard it here first. Blues at least getting 90.
Yep. No doubt about it.
Make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Matthew.
Pleasure.
That's our producer and audio engineer, Matthew Rocchio. Brooke, this was fun.
Yes.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
CD?
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Don't forget Blues and Stars tonight, pregame at 6 here on 101 ESPN. And Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale will have the call for you at 7. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Friday Eve, everyone.
That's right.
Hey, if you aren't feeling your best, if you feel like you can feel better, but for whatever reason you're just a little bit diminished in terms of the way you go through your day, if you're tired at the end of the day, if you're tired when you wake up, you should go to Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com and find out about what they do. And what they do at Mentality is restore your testosterone level, which as a guy, it automatically decreases. After you pass your 30th birthday, your testosterone level gets lower and lower and lower. And what testosterone does is provides you the ability to stay energetic and be the person that you want to be and get through workouts and get through walk and golf and get through, heck, if you work outside and use your body for a living, it helps you get through that too. Work is competitive and you don't want a younger guy taking your job because your testosterone level is low. So go to lowtusa.com, find out about what Mentality can do for you, and they're going to help you through the entire process. They'll work with your insurance company so you have low out-of-pocket expenses and you can be the guy that you want to be and the guy that you need to be with Mentality at lowtusa.com.